go ahead and start it. Test. 1 2 1 2. All right, chat. Thanks for being here. We're going to kick it off in fine fashion shortly. Make sure all the volumes are right. Yep, they are. All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Core, talking video games. That's what we do here. There's one job. We have one job. That is to talk about video games, consoles, PCs, end-of-year stuff, all that. That's our job. So we're here to do it. We're going to do it now, and we hope you all enjoy what we've brought to the table. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. And by the way, a quick hello to mega YouTuber Lamar Wilson, who apparently is now listening to our show. Lamar, I hope you're doing good, and thanks for listening.
Hello, Lamar.
We had a little conversation earlier on Twitter, and he didn't know we had this show. And I said, well, you should check it out. I'll bet you like it. And then, well, I guess we'll wait and see if he does. He'll let me know.
See? Let the rest of the audience know. You get famous enough.
Yeah.
We'll give you a special shout out at the top of the show.
Yeah, you get the likes and subscribes. We got your back.
Yeah. We'll call you out by name. You just gotta do your part.
That's right. We hope you're all well. It's what are we, a week and a half away from Christmas, something like that. Which means we're now in the thick of the not as much news as usual time, and that's okay. We don't need news every second of the day in the video game world. Sometimes it's nice to just reflect on what we've got and where we're headed, and maybe what's coming in a few months or whatever, or what we're playing now. There's a few things, though, and we're just happy to be here. So thanks for hanging out. We hope you enjoyed me and Bo last week on our commentary episode. Don't worry. We're going to get some hot takes from John on some of the stuff he missed.
That was a great time, by the way.
It was a great time. I really enjoyed myself that night. And hopefully we enjoy ourselves just as much tonight. So let's kick it off. So let's get right to it. Before we get these hot takes from John, because I want to hear what you think about, in particular, the Star Wars game that got announced. Did you see that trailer? I assume you did.
I did. I watched most of the show right along with you guys. I was dealing with a baby that was crawling all over the house, so my attention was divided, and it's also why I couldn't be there. But I watched right along with you and got to see a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it was good having your quippy self in the chat room. That was nice. So we'll talk about that in a second. But before we get to that, I just wanted to mention, I don't know why this keeps happening, but it seems like this must just be Microsoft bleeding money. I don't know. But Game Pass went kind of crazy over the last 7 to 10 days. And I kind of thought they were done for the year. I'm like, all right, well, they got to Halo Infinite, so that's out. Now they can just kind of rest on their laurels and have a nice, strong holiday season. Their big 2 games, that and Forza Horizon 5 are out, so they're good. They're good. Maybe a couple indies, maybe. But they're kind of done, as best I could tell. They were not done, dude. They had a whole bunch of stuff lined up that nobody quite saw coming. It happened almost immediately with Serious Sam 3, which I don't think anybody was asking for, but there it is. It just happens to be on there.
Yeah.
I like Serious Sam as a series, so I'm not complaining. I just think it's funny that was one of the games that showed up right after Halo. And then one after another, we got the likes of Mortal Kombat 11 on there suddenly. We have that Aliens Elite Fire Team thing on there, which I played some of, and I'll talk about later. The Gunk, which came out today? I think today.
The Gunk. It's got one of the best names. One of my favorite names.
Oh, it's great. I played a ton of it today. I will tell you what I think of it a little later. And then a bunch of little indie games, some older stuff like Firewatch. I forget. I'm doing this all from memory.
Firewatch is really good too. I mean, definitely an acquired taste. You have to be into the walking simulator genre, but I really enjoyed that story and the performances of the people doing it. It was really good.
Yeah, those guys now they make that weird wind-up little handheld Game Boy thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's that called?
The Crank It.
The Crank It. It's called the Crank It. No, what's it called?
I don't know. That's what I've always called it, and I think it's a better name.
We talked about it like 2 weeks ago.
We did. The Playdate? No, Playdate.
Playdate. Yeah, Playdate.
Playdate. Okay, it is Playdate.
Nice.
I kind of like the Crank. They should have called it the Crank, but whatever. You can't go back and fix your old name. Anyway, those guys made that game, and that game's very highly thought of, and that showed up out of nowhere, and a bunch of other smaller games just showed up. And there's a Transformers game, turn-based Transformers thing that landed. I don't know what it is, but I thought of Bo as soon as I saw it, and I went, well, I should download that.
That's on the iOS, isn't it?
It's a different game. It's a whole different thing. I don't know what it is. And I haven't taken any time to like investigate other than I downloaded it. It's there kind of waiting for me. And I previewed a lot of stuff via cloud on there. Once you get a taste for cloud as a demo, meaning you may not want to play an entire game via cloud. You can if you want, but you may not. But now that you can do that straight from the consoles, and you can skip the whole, well, I got to download this 30 gig and I'll be back later, everybody, to check on my download. You can just get in there and go, and all that's anything you do is saved for when you do decide, if you decide to do the full download. It's kind of crazy. Like I think that may be my favorite part about it. It isn't so much that I can play any game I want on the go or on the cloud. That's cool. But what I really like about it is I get to demo this stuff in their full glory before I download them and decide whether I want to download them or not. And I've gotten like into a game like an hour and a half and went, oh shit, I'm playing cloud. What am I doing? I should just download this effing thing, because it turns out I like it and I'm going to keep playing it. I've been doing that a lot lately, just saving myself some time. But anyway, been a good week for them. MK11, Bo got it, but not in the way you're thinking. We'll talk about that later. Plenty to discuss there. Yeah. But instead, let's get a couple of hot takes from John. So now that we've had some time to reminisce or think a little bit about what this Star Wars Eclipse might be, and knowing it's from not Quantic Dream?
Yeah,
Quantic Dream. Folks who brought us Heavy Rain and
Detroit Become
Human.
Yeah, has it become Detroit Become Human?
I think so.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. The Android deal, which is on sale everywhere right now, I noticed. Anyway, among other games.
Is it that one?
Yeah.
Detroit Becoming Human, I think.
Indigo Prophecy.
Okay. Yeah.
Heavy Rain.
All
those games.
So I will say this. My first impression of that was that I thought I was looking at video at the beginning. Those guys hitting drums. I went, oh, they're doing some FMV to give us a cool trailer for some Star Wars stuff, and they're using, LucasArts assets, and it looked like video to me. And then it started to it hit me. Oh no, this is like rendered. This is like a game thing. Now it might be pre-rendered. I don't know, but that studio's known for getting a lot of power out of whatever platform they're putting games on. And at the end of the day, while I don't know a ton about the High Jedi, what's it called? Not High Jedi.
The High Republic.
High Republic.
Yeah.
I don't know much about High Jedis, but
it's the era where they all just sat around blazing and talking about the Force,
eating edibles, getting
they just sat back and
baked. Yeah.
What if it surrounds us and binds us?
It's going to have the Trade Federation in it.
Yeah, the Trade Federation guys are in it, it appears. Who else I saw? Oh, you got Yoda in that typical little hollow meeting room they have for the Jedi Council. That was in there. I was worried at first.
3PO adjacent dude.
He looked cool, that 3PO guy.
And it's not Cad Bane, but there's a Cad Bane race guy with an eye patch in there as well.
And the hat. He's wearing the cool brim hat.
No, it's not.
Those are called like the Duros or something like that.
Oh,
okay. This one's not wearing a hat. That's why I assume it's not Cad Bane.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was wearing a hat.
You got to take his hat everywhere.
Yeah.
He's like Indiana Jones like that.
The drummers all looked like Voldemorts, I thought, which was kind of interesting. Anyway, any hot takeaway there, John, as a Star Wars fan? And
I mean, I guess my hottest take as a Star Wars fan is they lost me at Quantic Dream. I'm not a huge fan of their games, so I was very excited by the look of it, and then I went, oh, it's a Quantic Dream game. We'll see. We'll see what reviews say. It's not enough to write it off completely. I played all of Heavy Rain. I played all of Indigo Prophecy. I may have played all of another one of their games. I can't remember, but by and large, I don't particularly care for their games very much. I always think I will.
Yeah.
Like the ideas behind them always get me, which is why I tried so many. But I feel like by the time Detroit Became Human came out, it was like, no, I'm on to you. I'm not going to fall for it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Some people love that game. So you didn't play that game, I guess.
I didn't play that one. No, that was by the point where I was like, you know what? These are games I always think I'm going to like. And then I play and go, I feel very middling about that. You know, I don't necessarily feel like I wasted my time, but you know, it's a game that's hinging on narrative, and I've never found their narratives insanely compelling. So, you know, if that's where you're hanging your hat, then I kind of don't know. You know, you're missing the one thing that's the most important. It does look really good.
Yeah.
You know, hard to deny that, but yeah, we'll see. It's definitely going to be a case of, you know, I'm going to need to hear what people actually think of it. And the other thing about Quantic Dream is they're a divisive bunch. There are people that will tell you Detroit Beyond Human, Become Human, whatever it is one of the, you know, best games they've ever played. It was amazing, you know, but there are plenty of other people that tell you, you know, it's not that good. So I think even if you go, well, I'll wait for the reviews, they seem to be a company that, you know, with it being based on a narrative, it's going to be very subjective, whether or not you like it or not.
Yeah.
The nice thing about Star Wars is that Star Wars is kind of simple. So you either nail that simple thing or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and
you
so
kinda,
I
you kind of
do
know
think
what you're
it
skinning.
might be,
yeah. I get
yeah,
that.
it might be the more universal like game. Everybody can go, oh yeah, we all agree that this is great, or we all agree that this is awful, because you are dealing with their own IP as opposed to somebody
Agreement
else
and Star
writing their
Wars
own
go
story.
well together.
Yeah, I agree. I like the dude in the oil. That's cool. It's very Baron Harkonnen, you know, kind of moment there. I don't know what's going on there, and I don't know anything about the High Republic. I haven't read any of those comics. I haven't read any books about that era, so I'm super stupid on the entire thing. It feels like if you were making a fantasy comparison, and Star Wars is so much fantasy anyway, but versus sci-fi, but it feels like elves are in charge or some shit, you know. And I don't mean elves, but
everything's very fancy. Like it's before things in the Star Wars universe got dirty, is kind of the way it comes across.
Yeah. That's my takeaway as well. I think that's a definitely time will tell thing. I really liked Heavy Rain when I played it, but I don't remember much about it, so I don't know what that says. And if it's a big sprawling single player Star Wars experience, like I'm in. Dude, name the last time you got excited about a Star Wars game, especially coming out of EA when they were just so covered in these, you know, microtransactions and everything. And, you know, redheaded Jedi man was the exception.
I mean, I've been excited about almost all of them except that one. And then that one ended up being awesome.
Yeah, that was the one that ended up being great right out of the gate.
You know, it's been a weird thing, you know, Battlefront. I was super excited for and then disappointed with, and then went back to later, and it was phenomenal and really good.
Yeah.
And the redheaded Jedi game, it does have a name besides that, but that's what we're going to call it.
Yeah.
That game I was extremely critical of. I didn't think it looked good at all, and turns out I really enjoyed that game. It was one of my favorite games I played that year. So you never know. You never know. Yeah. They have a lot of hits. They have a lot of misses.
Did you see anything else in the presentation last week that you were like, oh? I mean,
honestly,
I got like Space Marine is all bone I could talk about after they announced Space Marine 2, but and I assume you're a little excited about that. You liked that.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I didn't play a ton of Space Marine. I played it enough to know I loved it, and then I dropped it for something else, and then for some reason when I went back to play it, it wouldn't work on my computer anymore, and I just never went back to it because I couldn't get it to run previously, but now they've done an update. I'm sure I could actually get to play it if I tried. So I am excited about Space Marine because I just think that game, you know, speaking of games where it's a lot of misses and occasional hits, like the Warhammer franchise, they'll hit anything you throw at them. They don't care what it is. They'll swing, and every now and then they'll hit something. And I think Space Marine's probably the biggest hit that I've played that they've put out. So
pretty close. There's some good strategy stuff, but I would agree with like mainstream action title that one definitely broke through, I thought.
Yeah. And so I wasn't as excited as you guys were, but I was definitely excited. I think whatever the trailer was that came after that, I think it was Saints Row right after that. I was ready to watch Saints Row, and you guys talked about Warhammer for the next 2 or 3 trailers, I think.
Yeah.
So I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I did have a good time, seeing that. Like sometimes it's weird, you watch these things and you get hung up on like the smallest stuff.
Yeah.
And like the thing that when I think about this past Game Awards that I just can't stop thinking about was that morning I had been driving home and that Imagine Dragons song came on, the one that plays for Arcane.
I wake
and all
up
of
to
that.
the sound of the something to the ground.
Yep.
I make my bed and get out to the mailbox. Like, whatever.
That's the one. You've heard it. It's on the radio a lot.
Wow.
I can't even get my voice out. He's like, I don't even know. His voice goes really high.
Yeah, that's great.
So I was listening to it on the drive home. It came on the radio, and I was like, I don't get why people hate Imagine Dragons. I get why a lot of people don't, might go, I don't like them, but I don't get the hate for them.
They don't
right?
like their meteoric rise to fame. People don't like.
To me,
fast fame.
they felt like they feel like music vanilla. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not coming over to your house and beating up your parents in front of you either. Like, it's there. And like, that was what I was kind of thinking that morning.
Yeah.
And then I watched the Game Awards with you guys and I got so excited because they brought out the composer for Hades, who does
Darren
all the
Korb.
music. Yeah.
Darren Korb. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, I know.
And then they brought out the singer. I can't remember her name either, but she's done a ton of music for them too. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah.
And then they start singing Build a Wall or Build That Wall, whatever the song is called, which is one of my favorite songs from Bastion.
Yeah, it's
and I encourage everybody to go out. It's on Spotify. Listen to this song. It's really, really good. It is this sweet, beautiful sounding song that if you pay attention to the lyrics is extremely sinister because it's basically about another country saying, hey, you do whatever you want to do. We're going to come and take it all away from you someday.
Mm.
And like, it's got a dark undertone and I just love it. I think it's great. And they start the song and I'm like, all right. And then Imagine Dragons starts singing over the top of them.
Yeah.
And I was like,
did that throw you?
Now I get why people hate them. Because if you're going to come into a song I like and start singing your stupid Arcane intro
I wake
song
up
on
to the
top
sound of Jinx shooting guns. I made them cereal. Now Vi's gonna hang out.
I got so mad about that performance, especially because it wasn't even good. And I can't remember much of what happened on the Game Awards after that, because every time I tried to pay attention, I was just like, friggin' Imagine Dragons, my goodness.
Yeah, no, I get it,
really
dude.
Butchered that.
They're from here, so I'll take full credit for it. They're from Provo.
They have nothing to do with you. It's fine. It's not your fault.
Not my fault, but I have a lot of state pride, and when something comes out of my state, I feel like I have to defend it. But not them. I don't really like them. My wife's been to their concert. It was fine. It's whatever it is.
They're fine. Imagine Dragons. It's fine music, but it's just not. It's not Darren. You don't put Darren Korb with Imagine Dragons and expect the Darren Korb stuff is going to outshine the Imagine Dragons stuff.
Oh yeah, every time.
Yes.
So is this the
Yes,
song,
again.
John? Is this it? Right
Dig my hole, you build a wall.
This is the song. Yeah.
Okay, this is the one. Just making sure I got the right one. Yeah,
It's
it's a very
good.
good song. Yeah, I like it.
And it's beautiful. And then all of a sudden they're freaking singing about the waking up to the sound. And I just like, made me so mad.
Yeah.
And it completely erased a lot of the Game Awards for me.
Wow,
that
that one thing ruined the whole Game Award.
It really did. It really stood out in my brain.
It was just not great, but the Game Award, the rest were okay.
Like I said, I wish I had more of a takeaway, but that show got done.
What about the Doke V number?
Oh Lord, I hated that so bad.
So that's been bugging me this past week because I like Pearl. Is it Pearl Abyss? I like Black Desert. I think they're talented.
Sure.
But that music, the K-pop kids number, has stuck with me over the past week, and I'm starting to think maybe this game's target audience might be pedophiles, and I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't think I want to play this game. I don't know if Korean television kids look like that there, so maybe it's normal, but if not, I'm starting to think this game is like just. It was disturbing.
It was
man.
creepy.
Like,
I thought it was creepy.
That
It was
moment,
creepy.
Yeah.
that moment was an uncomfortable moment for the show for me because I didn't know what they were about to do, and they started showing it. And the thing I remembered was when we first saw the trailer, the first trailer for that game.
Yeah.
We were like, "Are we crazy? This game kind of looks cool, right?"
Yeah, I remember.
And
feeling
so
that way.
I said it in the chat before I knew what was going on. I was like, "Oh, this is that game," and I was like, "I think this game actually looks really great." And then that started playing, and I was like, "Never before have I wanted to like wipe my chat clean faster than when I started seeing that
Yeah.
performance." I was like,
I don't want to tell.
I feel not good about saying that this game looks good.
I don't want to tell people I like
screen.
playing that game. They might think things about me.
Yeah, they might wonder.
It was an awkward performance, but I'm trying to think of things I liked from the Game Awards because I don't want to just bag on it. And like for some reason, it's just all negative.
Did you like the intestines?
The intestine.
Uh,
The
what
big giant
intestines?
intestines murals. More like a snake, but it looked like someone's guts up on screen all the time. That was weird.
Guys, can I just be? The intestines I didn't really pay that much attention to. The part I paid attention
wow.
to was where it looked like somebody had pleasured themselves all over the background behind him.
Wait,
It was just splotch art of white dripping down behind the host, and I was like,
Oh, I missed that.
I know what he means. Someone
They
else
must be
pointed this
focused on
out.
Something else.
Somebody else pointed this out on Twitter, put up a picture, and I went, "Oh, because I don't think Bo and I caught it at the time.
it was.
It was
That
something.
was the background. It was a lot of unfortunate backgrounds,
Yeah.
we'll say.
Yeah.
And I also got really bummed that Lou Piro didn't win an award because I felt Lou Piro deserved an
I
award.
agree.
Yeah, right? Jeez, that
agree.
Kina one? Who cares about Kina? Sorry, I know it's indie developers, but no one really know it. Like, I didn't hear anyone talk about that game, like, at all. Like, just not at all.
My expectation is that game's probably great, but here's the thing.
Sure, but we're talking about who won the award.
I agree,
For, like,
and that made me more than ever realize that this show is barely about awards, like barely. Like there's the actual time devoted to winning anything. It's right in the name, the Game Awards, right? But that stuff is so brief, and even briefer, more brief when they're doing the little like throwaway ones, like here's our category for blah, and then he sits there at the camera for a second, doesn't even read the nominees. And then goes, and the winner is, and then they just pick one from this list that we had to visually rip through real quick. I don't think they give a shit about that. I think that is pure dressing.
There's other things where it's like, so Final Fantasy won Best Ongoing Game, and then as they're going up, Final Fantasy also won Best Community Support. And it's like, I guess we're just gonna do 2 awards right now, right in this moment.
Yeah, I think we can
squeeze another trailer in there if we don't have to give out these stupid awards.
It's basically a 3-hour strung together bunch of ads, and I'm not saying that that's bad because most video game trailers, even announcement trailers, they're ads for what's coming. Just like a teaser is for a movie or anything else. We get excited about some of it because it's stuff we're interested in. It's why people like to cater ads to people because they respond better to things they're interested in. So that's all that psychology makes sense to me, and I understand it. But I really think we just need to call it for what it is. That thing is a 3-hour string of commercials, and the awards are very secondary at best to everything else they're trying to do. And I know it's not free. These things are expensive. I get it. Whatever Jeff Keighley needs to do to get the bills paid, you got to do what you got to do. But I'm not sitting there. I think that's true of most award shows, to be honest. But at least with like the Oscars and other stuff, there's an attempt to make the awards the forefront of everything. This does the opposite. It's like backseat. Oh yeah, right. There's awards. I almost forgot half the time. Also, 3 hours is too long. What the F? That's just really stupid.
Might also be why I don't remember the latter half.
Yeah, it was long, dude. Everybody I talked to Garrett, and he's like, yeah, I fell asleep after whatever. And somebody else said the same thing. It's like, I just couldn't keep up with it. And here's my recommendation for watching that. Watch it with a friend and laugh the whole time. That's what I did. I did it with Bo. It was a blast. We had John in the chat room, had a bunch of you here. That made it way more cool than I think if I'd have done it by myself. By myself, I'd have been like, all right, well, thank you for at least letting me know that Space Marine 2 is coming. But other than that, not really, don't really care all that much.
I want to give a special shout out to the chat who said this show is often 3 hours. Thank
Sometimes,
you. Sometimes. Very productive.
I would say not often. In fact, we rarely crest 3 hours here. We have come close. We've been like 2 point something before, but we don't usually hit 3.
Yeah, we're not full of ads for things. I mean, that's the key,
we don't have
right?
any
like,
ads. Yeah.
When it's Star Wars Eclipse, like I'm on board for the ad. When it's Google Play has a subscription service. Here's some funny graphics and iStock photos. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Or let's that whole skit about renaming the Xbox Game Pass to PC Game Pass. Like,
hated that. It's dumb.
Yeah.
All of it. It just felt weird and contrived and not great. However, if this is the place where we now get our big reveals, I guess it's okay. We still get plenty at E3, but the E3 ones are becoming
maybe
more.
Call it the Keighley showcase or something. Like, let's stop pretending it's a Game Award show and let's call it the game announcement.
Yeah,
show
call it
the
the game showcase. That's fine. Do that. There you go. There's your new name. No need to have any awards. Forget about all that. You'd never have to ever say Content Creator of the Year one more time. You don't ever have to do
boring.
it.
They should call it Game Blast.
Game Blast.
I saw Game Blast as their background and it disturbed me.
I need to go back and look at that. Somebody get a screenshot for Bo so we can put that one to bed. I want to.
Please,
yeah, we need to show that around.
I have to see the jizz, apparently.
Yeah, you need to see it. All right, well, there's that. Hey, Final Fantasy's new expansion is out. It's very popular. There's a few factors going on there. One, it's just popular in general and was before. Two, there's a big exodus from the previously very popular World of Warcraft. And there's also just a lot of people like, wait, why is everyone talking about this? A fair amount of FOMO going on. It's having a moment, that Final Fantasy 14 MMO. And as a result, and due to that popularity and subsequent queue times and disconnects and just overall congestion, sales of the game, which include free trials, temporarily suspended. They are giving
you can't buy the game.
Yeah, you can't buy the game right now. I actually think it's the right thing to do. It's hard to hear that and nobody likes it, but you have to stem the flood sometimes. And it's the only way how else are you going to do it? Like, there's no other real way to do it to at least keep your current base happy. They are offering 21 days of free game time to subs, which I am right now, and I have not been able to get in that game. The times I play apparently are peak times for MMOs these days, and I can't get in. I can never get in. I got in once, just long enough to make a rock formation look like a penis, and then I got out, and that's the most I've been able to do.
There you go. That's the most important thing you're going to do in that game.
I got the most important thing out of the way. Now, as a result, I'll get this out of the way now. My brain, I talked about this a little bit 2 weeks ago, but my brain was like, well, I have an itch for an MMO. I'm excited about this. I can't get in. What am I going to do? And I bounced around a whole bunch of ones that already exist and some I'd never heard of and some I had heard of and played before. Everything from DCUO to freaking Champions Online I downloaded like some kind of psycho. Whole bunch of stuff like that. And
what? Why are we bagging on Champions?
Oh, it's
Online
fine.
so much?
It's fine. It's not bad. I mean, I even downloaded Star Trek Online. I didn't launch it yet because I ended up finding what I wanted, and we'll get to that in a second. But Champions is fine.
Playing 50 MMOs, these games are notorious for taking billions of hours. Yeah. With what time?
I just did it. I downloaded
them all.
I downloaded them all and thought, well, I'll get a taste and then go, is that taste working? And if it is, that'll tide me until I can get through these queues. Fully acknowledging at the time, at least in my head, like, well, whatever it is, it won't matter because it'll be free to play. And immediately I'm going to shift back over here when these queues died down. Well, the queues have not died
You're shopping
down.
for a consolation MMO.
Kind of, yeah. A little bit.
Because I've been doing that with ARPGs in Lost Ark, and nothing's quite Lost Ark.
Yeah, exactly. So, you're doing... that's a very similar path you're on that I'm at with MMOs, or was. Here's the problem. I decided to, after, 3 or 4 of these attempts, I was kind of like, I'm just going to give up and, let's go play Loop Hero for a few hours or whatever, right? Like I just kind of running out of steam. I ended up reinstalling Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is when it came out, I was huge for it. I even started a show about it. Didn't last long, but started.
How huge?
I was really into it. I was super into it back in the day. So huge you wouldn't believe what you saw that day.
Damn.
So I get into that thing and I install and play it and whatever, and it's free to play. So since 2013 or whatever, it's been free to play. So no reason not to get in there and dork around. And I started new characters because I did the Steam version. I've long lost my old forever ago download stuff and FOB and all that. I had all that back in the day. and I didn't really care to pick up old characters. I just wanted to see what was going on. So I did, and man, I got so freaking sucked into that damn thing, like hardcore. I ended up playing, initially I played a bounty hunter to level 24, 25, 26, somewhere in that range, and loved it. Was having a great time, but I had seen all that stuff before because that's what I mained in the old game, or back in the old days. So I thought, why am I doing that? That's dumb. Let me play something I didn't play before, and let me play the thing that everyone said was the story du jour of that game. Like, all the stories are really strong, but supposedly the two that get all the love these days is Sith Inquisitor and Imperial Agent. Those are the two that everybody says have the best stories and could make Star Wars movies, or you can make a whole TV series out of them. They're so good. So I thought, all right, I'll do that. I'll do an Inquisitor. Give me some lightsabers, double-sided lightsaber. I'm in. I'm making the assassin specialization in there. Anyway, I make that dude. His name is Gurpony because Gurp was taken, I think, by me from way back.
Yeah, you're competing against yourself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Got that Inquisitor to 30, so he's already past the other dude, and I'm really hooked on that story. It's very good. And here's the other thing. That game's great. And they added a ton of quality of life improvements to it. It, of course, runs great all these years later on newer hardware. And I think it still looks good. It's like all MMOs start to look fishy if you zoom cameras in too far. So if you get too close to stuff in this game, you're like, ooh, that texture. Ugh. You do that in WoW, you get the same thing. You do that in Final Fantasy, you get that real bad. So it's not like a unique thing to it. But other than that, I think it looks great. That's the other thing. I've forgotten how cool that game looks. And sounds. The sound works amazing. Music's amazing. The VO is incredible. And I think it might be the best thing BioWare ever wrote. Like, I like it that much. And I love those two KOTOR games, especially the first one. And I really like Dragon Age, and I really like a lot of the, top tier Baldur's Gate, top tier BioWare stuff. This is top tier BioWare storytelling. It's very good. And so I ended up getting just completely sucked into that damn effing thing. So anytime I check a Final Fantasy queue, I'm like, well, there's 5,000 people again. I'm going to go play Star Wars. And I did. And then it got to the point where I was like, well, I'm not even going to bother at 5 o'clock tonight looking to see what queues are like. I'm just going to go play Star Wars. Let's just get in. And I did. And I've been enjoying the living hell out of it. So I'm not saying that, nope, that's it. I'm done with Final Fantasy. I just can't get in. So I'm subbed. No, and that's the other thing is I'm enjoying it so much that some of the quality of life stuff that you get with a sub, I was like, oh, these are nice features that I can have.
Actually, I would say I think you're wasting your time if you're going to try to play the Old Republic free to play. The amount of penalties they put on that game, unless they've changed it since I played, to me makes the game unplayable.
The only thing that they really left from that, and I know what you're talking about, there used to be kind of a list of these things. I think the one that's still really in place that people hate is there's 100,000 credit limit to your money, which may sound like a lot when you're level 4.
No, it's not.
By the time you're level 10, you're like, oh shit, I just hit 100K and now I can't.
There were weird things. It was like you couldn't hide your helmet.
That's still in there too, yeah.
There was a ton of stuff like that, which is important to me. Like, if you're going to do a story-based MMO, you have to be able to present your character to look cool.
Yeah.
And that's important. If you're going to have a role in the story, you need to look good. And if you show up looking like clown shoes every time a cutscene starts, you're not going to have the experience that you should be going for. So I would actually caution people about trying the free-to-play version of the Old Republic. It might be worth it to see if you like the gameplay and if you like the way the game plays, because I know Bo tried to get into it not too long ago and he was just like, this game doesn't play well. If you're good enough with the way the game plays, then I would sub to it for while you're into it. I think the free-to-play version of the Old Republic is still extremely bad.
I don't know that it's bad. I would argue that it does its job, which is it not coerced me. It got me convinced that I needed to go ahead and pay because, I like those features. I wanted more money than 100,000 credits. I want to hide my helmet. I want to unify colors on a combination of gear that aren't matched. I want some of those features built in. That stuff that stuff is good and is, I think, needed for the full experience. So I agree with you there. But I think as a way to play the game and see if you like it or not without spending any money, it's perfectly suitable for that. You can get in, go, the entire story is yours to play if you want. Get in there a little ways. If you like how it plays, great. You stick around and you belly up to the bar, which is what I did. I have no problem paying for it for as much as I've been playing it. It's totally, it's a value that I'm willing to pay for. It's, in terms of gameplay and stuff, I think it's great. It plays as well as any other tab targeting MMO, in my opinion. Like, tab target a dude, get my rotation down the way I like it, unlock some new abilities, use that shit on some bad guys. I like that it lets you change the mission difficulty from story to veteran to, I don't know what the third one is, hardcore or something. I don't know if that was in there. I don't think it was in the original, but you can do that anytime you want. So if something's too hard, knock it down. If it's too easy, crank it up. I like that a lot. And you don't have to do any side quests if you don't want to do them. You just go straight story, like Final Fantasy, just rip through the old stuff.
And that's a big one because for as good as their story quests are in the Old Republic, their side quests are awful.
They're pretty bad.
Like every single time it's because the game went fully voice acted. So if it's a side quest, typically it's an alien or a robot so that they have a reason why they don't have to record dialogue lines for it. So it's always someone going, "Ichuta bunga dunga," and you just hear that, and then they put up whatever dialogue, and then it's like, "Hi, I need you to kill 5 things, cuz." And it's like, whoa, they didn't bring the writers into this side quest. It was a nightmare getting through back when you thought you had to do it, and being able to focus on just the story is
and to
really
level
nice.
To stay leveled and current for your next big story thing. You needed to stay, you needed to have the XP, and so you kind of had to back in those days. That's all gone now. You don't have to do any of it. You can do some of it if you want. Some of it may give you. I mean, it's a way to earn more money, obviously, and there's some that are okay. They're fine. They may be fetch quests, but, you're going to be in that area anyway, kind of WoW style. Like, oh, well, I got to kill 15 beavers, but I'm already out there destroying these dudes, so I'll do the 2 things at once. So some of that still happens. They let you hearth to your ship now. I like the very short cooldown on the basically Hearthstone equivalent in that game. It's like 6 minutes is all, so you're getting around that world is much faster and simpler. I don't know, man. I'm just I'm enthralled with it. And now I can't wait to see I keep hearing amazing things about subsequent big patches and expansions to that game and how great those story arcs went.
Oh, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
It gets so insane. I'm not current in it, but I played through most of the Infinite Empire business that came basically right after the main story wraps up.
Yeah.
And the Revan stuff appears.
Yeah.
And like that Infinite Empire business it makes the early quest stuff look like they were just practicing. Like I would put it in the same ballpark as like when people go A Realm Reborn for Final Fantasy isn't its best foot forward, and then Heaven's Ward is such a huge improvement. I kind of feel like it's that same level step. It was really, really cool stuff. I was super into it.
Yeah. It just feels real good right now. So that's kind of where my biggest scratches have been itched, given all these outages. But do we have a general take on, like, I don't know, suspending the sale of the game is not a harsh move, but one that you don't see very often.
Well, it's when I think you said it best with like, this is what you do. The Final Fantasy is in a very weird place. They hit their highest amount of subs and logins in basically the pre-expansion drought that MMOs suffer.
Yeah.
That part where everybody's sitting around going, oh, when are we getting the new expansion?
Mm-hmm.
That's when they hit the highest amount of players they've ever had. And that's already weird. But then it happened in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And they can't get the chips to create the servers that they need to handle the population. They couldn't handle the population in the drought.
Yeah.
And now they put out their biggest expansion ever, the big finale to the story. and you've got all those people that had been playing before that had maybe checked out because they were saying, well, we're done for right now. And you've got all these new people checking it out, whether they're current or not. And you have no way to physically expand your servers beyond where you're at. And so you have to make a decision. Do we make this game playable for the people that are paying us a monthly fee and giving us money? Or do we try and collect as much money as possible and give everybody a bad game experience?
Yeah.
And, they made the not financially smart decision, but I think as far as goodwill and favor, like, they made the best decision for the players, which was you give them free game time. We're now at a point where they've given us more free game time than there have been issues, so that's nice.
Why don't they take away the free game trial?
They did. So you can't. So as far as the game trial, you can't start a new game trial account at this point. And if you're on the free game trial, you can only log in on off hours. So you can log in early in the morning, or you can log in the evening, but you can't log in during the busy part of the day if you're on the free trial.
They're so popular, they have to turn people away.
And then they also canceled their marketing for the game, with exceptions of, they said, deals where they're committed and it's a requirement that they have to provide an ad or something like that.
Grubhub.
Yeah, Grubhub still got their marketing piece.
They made a deal.
Yeah.
Oops.
But it's it's not a great situation. I mean, it's nice to feel popular, but I think at the same time,
because
the best they can do.
Because it's a linear story. Like, anyone who can't play it now can just play it later. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
There's other games to go play. Everyone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'm assuming if they've turned it off, it's because they've made the maximum money potential. Like, they have to invest more in the short term, where they make more money not buying servers now and just letting those people play later.
Well, yeah, some of that, but also they've somebody, John, who'd you say you read somewhere someone quantified how much they're losing right now? Not losing, but the revenue that they can't get because of these queues and stuff like that. Doesn't mean they're suffering. It just means,
Yeah, so I saw an estimate today that it was roughly $12 million in lost revenue, between giving free time, loss from marketing, loss from sales, and all of that. So it's not something that you do lightly. It's not something that you just go, it's the right thing to do, we'll do it.
But it's not that much money for a company like that either, right? I mean, it's I'm assuming they've made enough already now.
Well, they want to keep making it though, right? You want to keep growing.
They must have. They must do a calculation where they have current capacity. So if they sell enough to fill out current capacity, I mean, obviously any company wants to make as much money as possible, but you could also be like Hello Games and just make a reasonable amount of money. Like, they keep updating No Man's Sky and not doing X-Packs because they've gotten enough money. You just don't hear a company say that, but they're probably fine. If they're doing this, they're probably fine.
Yeah, they're definitely fine.
You guys who don't get to play now, you can play later. Final Fantasy VII just came out a year later on PC. You can play it now if you didn't play it at launch.
Wait, it did? What? It's out? It's out?
We saw that at Game Awards. Yes, it's out on Epic.
Oh, so that's confirmed. That happened? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might need to get that.
So, I understand Final Fantasy is MMO, but the draw is always the MSQ, the story. So it's that'll be there a year from now. You just play something else.
Yeah. Well, I guess
deal.
Congratulations for their ridiculous level of insaneness that they're having right now. They're having a moment, and congratulations to them. Final Fantasy VII Remaster is on Epic Games, and I didn't know that was for real. So that's cool. I might have to go get it. I kept saying, well, when that comes to PC, I'll play it. I was kind of hoping Steam, but whatever. I guess these Epic deals get made still, and you do what you do. And that's fine. I play some games on Epic, but does this include anything other, in addition to what was there for the PS4? I mean, it probably better frame rates and crap like that, but
it's got the DLC, the stuff that they put out for the PS5 release of the game. So it is the full complete package that they have eventually put out. But the big thing that people are shocked about is $70 for a PC game.
Oh.
That seems to be the big headline because PC gamers are not used to spending $70 for video games.
No, that's higher than I expected.
This is a slight backtrack.
I thought 59, and we were there. You know, I really did.
It only affects people that have to buy it right away. Like,
That's
I don't
true.
think anyone has like.
I waited a long time already. I kind of wanted to play.
Scott's like, I was waiting for this. I said I was going to get the remake when it came out. Now they want $70.
Yeah,
It'll go on sale eventually. You don't have to buy it now.
That's
Yeah.
where I landed with it because I do want it. I didn't play any of that extra stuff that came out after the fact. I really, really liked the 7 remake. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, you
It's very
both
good.
raved about it.
But I can wait. I've already.
I want to
played
play
most
it
of
again. I need to get my PS4
Yeah.
back. I want to play it a second time soon.
Well, there you have it. What else? Oh, I don't know if you guys saw this. You want to play video games in your Tesla? We all have a Tesla, of course, right? We're all driving Teslas, all three of us.
No, I don't even drive.
Yeah, we got Bo's got his brand new Tesla Model 3. John and I are still rocking. I got my Cybertruck coming soon. I pre-ordered it. Just kidding. None of this is true. Yeah, they've got Tesla's making it so you can play games in your car while you're driving if you want. That seems bad.
It's on the dashboard, not the steering wheel. But
Right.
anyways, the news story is the U.S. government noticed that, like, hey, are there games in the car?
Yeah. They don't like that.
So, and I thought maybe there was a good reason to have, like, you know, if you're sitting in an intersection and you just need to, like, get some Final Fantasy 14 and, like, you should be able to do that.
Well, instead
No.
you're going to play Solitaire.
What if you're doing auction house stuff? Like, auction
No.
house stuff is important.
Yeah, it's really important, that stuff. So what they're showing for the demo is simple stuff like Solitaire. I guess when the car's in full...
But you could run Wild Rift on there, man. Like, if you want to get an...
Yeah, well, I don't know. Will it run that? I assume it might. It's a Tegra something mobile
Probably
chip.
terrible to play, like, leaning over your dash and playing that.
I think you're kind of only one hand in this whole thing. Oh my gosh, he's playing Centipede here in this video. Jeez Louise.
This is such a bad idea.
Yeah, people will wreck.
Like,
I mean, here's the... Oh, I just saw Stardew Valley. That's a weird pick.
What if it's a turn-based thing? Like, a slate, like, you're like, oh, I got to drive right now. Oh, and an
No.
intersection.
do you know how many times I've said, well, I can juggle this and this because it's a turn-based thing, and that's bit me in the ass? Like, it is not good. I was so excited that I got into Legends of Runeterra because I was like, man, I could play this game while taking care of a baby.
Yeah, right.
It's turn-based. I don't have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And I looked at the baby and he was fine. And I looked at the game and I did my move and I looked at the baby and he was about to put something in his mouth and eat it. And I went, well, that's the end of that.
Yep, no more
Turns
of that.
out a lot can happen in 1 second, and probably shouldn't be in a car moving around when you're making that decision.
So hold on a second, though. Like, they don't intend. Is it the autopilot feature is on, and now you're playing solitaire? Is that the idea?
The idea is it's going to be they're also the self-driving car people.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So if the car is self-driving, I mean,
What else are you going to do? Is what you're
You
saying.
might as well play Legends of Runeterra on your car computer.
Well, why not do? Okay, so now here's a use case. I'm driving to Vegas. It's a 6-hour drive. I'm halfway there. I'm in Beaver.
Are you driving or is the car driving?
Let's say the car is driving, but the way that the autopilot feature on those cars works right now, you still have to keep your hands on the wheel. You can't just lay there, I don't think. I think that's how the current law stuff is working. So,
oh, that's off. So it self-drives.
Yeah, because people have already gotten killed by self-driving
yeah, that's
cars.
why. Yeah, it's just not perfect. It doesn't account for every possibility.
The
I don't
future is
know.
not here yet.
This feels
I
more
guess,
like a
look, there's always going to be growing pains, but there is a little weird morbidity when your growing pains are, somebody died. But damn it, I got to play some solitaire.
I do feel the
Well,
human
I'm
life.
hoping no one's playing solitaire unless it's Solitarica.
I love that it's better if they're playing a cooler game than solitaire.
Can you imagine you're in heaven? Like, how'd you die? Well, I was playing solitaire in my car computer, and I wasn't paying attention and died.
Yeah, man, that's the worry. So I don't think it's a good idea. They shouldn't do this. I mean, or if they're just doing it to say, "Hey, look what this car can do," fine, whatever. Like, but there's no way
like
this becomes
when
normal.
we're there, we'll know it and we'll go, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like we'll be in a place where here's how you know when you need to put games in cars.
Yeah.
This is the moment when we're all sitting around going, man, riding in the car is boring as shit.
Yeah.
Like just sitting here doing nothing. What a friggin' waste of time this is.
Yeah.
Like I don't even put my hands on the wheel anymore. Half the time I just take a nap in the back. When we're at that point, then you go, well, what if we put games in it?
Yeah.
But we're still at a place where we're 10 and 2 most of the time on the car. We're not to games just yet.
Not yet. Maybe the person sitting next to you who's bored and can't drive. That I get it. Okay. Make that car as entertaining as you want for all your passengers. Guy driving, maybe should be driving. All right, let's move on to this stupid story. I hate it so much, but we're going to bring it up. Ubisoft is the first major publisher to put NFTs in their game. All right, wherever you land on the NFT scale, I know where I land. We won't get into that. I think it's a nightmare right now. But anyway, Ubisoft announced Ubisoft Quartz, an NFT initiative that allows people to buy artificially scarce digital items using cryptocurrency. The announcement represents the first AAA foray into NFTs as far as publishers go. People are pissed. Let's see. Other major publishers like Square Enix and Sega have stated explicit interest in the tech, but Ubisoft is the first to actually release a product, albeit a pretty shitty one, says this Kotaku article. Ubisoft Quartz allows players to purchase digits. Digits are in-game weapons, vehicles, cosmetics, which players can acquire in limited drops or as limited drops and sell freely via crypto wallets. The program relies on Tezos, a proof-of-stake currency, which claims to be energy efficient. That's dubious at the moment, but whatever. Ubisoft plans to launch Quartz in Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. You know, their big hit, Breakpoint, the one that really sold the best of their last run of games. I like that game, but it was a bummer, that game, as far as sales goes. It was not their biggest seller. Anyway, the first 3 of these limited time digit drops will be free to players who sign up via the company's app. They think that, unique customizations, and they may be right about this. Like, I actually think there probably is some sort of future where mintable exclusivity ends up in video games. I don't think it's going to be this way, and I hope it ends up being more like less about the money grab and more about the uniqueness. So if let's say Bo's playing an MMO called Giant Charlie Takes a Nap. That's the name of the MMO. And you're running around and Giant Charlie Takes a Nap, and you're loving that game, and it's great. And you come across just a random treasure chest in a cave, and you open it.
What Charlie's Nuggets.
Yeah, for Charlie's Nuggets. You open it up, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and it's Charlie's testicle, one of them. You just get one. Okay. And you're like, holy shit, these are like 1 in 4 billion is the chance of finding Charlie's testicle. And not only is it 1 in 4 billion, it's only 1 in 4 billion one time. I've got the only testicle in existence in Charlie's Takes a Nap. So you are holding that thing and you've got it in your inventory. You now have this one-of-a-kind thing in a video game that no one ever will have but you. Mm-hmm. There's something very compelling about that, but that's where it stops for me. The compelling part stops right there, and I say, yeah, that's kind of neat. You can kind of do this anyway without it being an NFT, but whatever. The idea of true, unique scarcity in a game is interesting, right?
It's such small thinking because I can take Charlie's testicle and I can breed it with Lucy's testicle and create a whole new George testicle son, and that's unique. Because there's these breeding games, right, where like there's horse breeding and stuff. So like I'm breeding the testicles and I breed it into a Charlie testicle. Yeah. And that's even more unique because it's hard to get Lucy and George's testicle.
No, so I'm with you. But here's the thing. In this game, the game designers decide, well, the testicle's petrified and can no longer reproduce. So it is strictly a stone in your bag and nobody else can have it. It's 100% soulbound to you. So if you've got this testicle and you're going through the rest of your game life, you can have all the e-peen on the planet. But
can I sell it for 100 Bitcoin?
That's where I don't like it.
Or
that's where things go shitty. That's where things go shitty. That scarcity, if it stayed within the game's system of scarcity, I think I'm down for some of these ideas.
Yeah, but
where
that's
they lose
never going to
me.
happen because
I know.
Reason people like the NFT is because they stand to profit from it.
I know. That's why I hate it.
There are 2 types of people that are into NFT. People that want to make a bunch of money off of it, and a bunch of people that believe in some mystical vision of it that's never going to actually exist. Like, those are the two NFT folks that are out
You mean
there.
the blockchain
Because the
cult.
stuff that you say, Scott, that you're like, I'd be into this, you don't need an NFT for.
No, you're right.
Nobody does.
You're right.
And that's the part that's so ridiculous to me, is because when people do come out like you that say this is what would be cool, we could already have that.
Well, I'm not arguing in favor of that when I tell you the following thing. There is an extra level of true scarcity / authenticity because blockchain technology is a level beyond that. So yes, a video game company like an MMO company can say there's only one sword in existence. I mean, basically that South Park episode with WoW, and it was like a fake NFT at the time. Nobody thought of it that way.
Yeah, the sword of 1,000 truths.
Yeah,
That was what that joke was. There was this thing going around saying, like, what if I got this system that will provide you with unique items for your game? It's called Sequel.
Yeah.
Like, it was like this piece of marketing. Like,
Yeah.
we have this amazing product for you. You want artificial scarcity. You want data that's searchable.
SQL server.
Introducing the SQL server.
But that's the whole thing.
Or data.
If that sword is more hackable, reproducible, fakeable, all of that without blockchain than it is with blockchain. So what I'm in favor of here, because the genie's out of the bottle. There's no stuff in this back end. The blockchain thing is happening across the board in lots of different ways. NFTs are just an aspect of this that everyone talks about right now, but it goes far and deep in a million directions and ways we can't talk about here because we don't even know. But what I'm saying is the blockchain technology is this layer of authenticity that once you understand it, you realize it's a cut above all of that. You can't hack it. You can't duplicate it. You can't, or if you can, no one's figured out how to do it yet. Like, it's very, very hard to do that. So I guess what I'm saying is no one's going to stop there. I'm not saying they're going to stop there because they won't. This is all about money. That's all this is. All right. Yeah. Straight up, Ubisoft, why would they care otherwise? They don't care unless they think there's a bunch of money to be made. But if you're just a designer and you're like, I want a cool thing to be in my game and only one person can ever have it, there's something there. There's something to that idea.
See, that's the part, though, that I also get hung up on. And maybe this is my deficiency, like, especially when I hear so many people talking about NFTs, and it's such a non-thing for me, is like this desire to have such high levels of authenticity for certain things, most things, just doesn't mean anything to me.
No.
Like, I really don't care. Like, if somebody gave me, and they're like, hey, forget all the legalities and all of that, but if somebody was like, here's the Mona Lisa, you have it. And I was like, okay. Do I appreciate that painting because it's the only one and it's the actual one? Or do I appreciate that painting because it's art? Like, at some point, I don't care. Like, there are people that are hung up on it, and it just feels like the biggest case of like e-peen I've ever heard in my life. Like, I have to have the actual one. If I like a painting, I like a painting. I don't care if it's the only one in existence. I don't care where it's been. I don't care where it's gone. Yeah. Like, it is such a stupid thing. And it was a thing that maybe I cared about when I was younger. I'll give you a good example. Like, they did those replica Frostmourne swords. Do you remember that? That were expensive and you could bid on them. And if you got within a certain amount of the bids for them, you got a version where if you ran this like special coding device over it, it gave you a number that showed this sword belonged to so-and-so, and it was there and it was theirs. So I ended up with one of them that was within that. Mine has a chip in it somewhere that if you run the stupid scanny thing, it'll say this belonged to John Jagger. I don't even have the chip scanner thing anymore because I don't give a shit. Like, it just doesn't matter to me. I don't care if people know that sword belonged to me. Who cares? Like, is the sword cool? Yeah. Is it too heavy to mount on a wall? Yeah, it's a real problem. I don't know what to do with the thing.
John, that just sounds like poor people talk.
It is. Guess what? There's a lot more poor people in this world than there are rich people, and it's time for people to stop pretending otherwise.
I'm poor. It's fine. I'm on your side, but that we're literally saying, why do rich people value these things? And it's like
there is that, but also
there's the money people who like to play. It's a stat dump for money, basically.
That's 100% true. And here's my overall take. And you've come to John. You've basically described my whole problem with the NFT thing, with all of it. It is all artificial scarcity. All of it is. If I sell some of my art, and some people have tried to sell me minted versions of my own art, whole different conversation we don't have to have here, but it's the weirdest ass thing to get emails from people saying, I have a minted version of your Blue Shell of Destiny, whatever comic you did. Would you like to buy it so that you own the original? I'm like, dude, I have that 8-layer Photoshop file on my hard drive from 8 years ago. What are you talking about?
We're not allowed to do that? I was about to sell John some of your art that I made into NFT. Is that not okay?
It's so stupid. But here's what I'm saying.
I just ripped it from your website. I hope you don't mind, Scott.
Here's what I'm saying, though. Like, the idea that I could go, and I could do this today, I could go mint something on the blockchain and put it up somewhere. Let's say one of my Fred and Can drawings or whatever. The picture of Can, Obey Can image. I put it up there and I say, all right, here we go. Give me some Ethereum for this. And it's worth, $20,000 or I don't know, whatever. And it sells for that. What did I sell them? Complete fake scarcity. Because the truth of the matter is he'll never have my original multi-layer Procreate file or the PSD I made from that or this alternate version I have over here in Affinity Photo or any of the other digital sort of lockers I keep this thing in. He'll never have the sketch layer that I keep somewhere else. He'll never have the napkin that I drew the original sketch on and then took a photo of and then finished my sketch in digital form. He'll never have that. It's all bullshit. It's bullshit. He has nothing of scarcity. He has a JPEG.
I think where it can become maybe a thing is depending on if social media continues growing as a thing. Because the one thing I noticed today, like, there's that reload. You guys see that sweet reload video of the guy reloading like vacuum cleaners and light bulbs and stuff?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it's been going
TikTok
around.
guy, yeah.
So I'm scrolling the comments of his compilation tweet, and some guy's like, "Hey, this other Twitter account posted your video and didn't claim the credit. Oh no!" And then like I go to that account and look at they posted the video, they didn't give the credit, and like 100 people underneath are like, "You posted this guy's video. It's not yours. Copyright alert. Get the police." So like I could see, when you post media to social media, having it having the blockchain authenticated, showing you as the copyright holder, could have merit in a social media world. That way, when Lad Bible on Facebook posts the billionth thing that doesn't belong to them, I'm barely on Facebook, and like I know they rip off everything in the
there's
universe.
Tons of accounts like that.
It was posting someone else's stuff, then the Facebook police can be like, excuse me, Lad Bible, you're posting shit without copyright. Where's your NFT token? You don't have it? Okay, your account's canceled. Like, we'll have the social media police. Like, I could see an ecosystem where this NFT business means like you take photos on your phone, you get an NFT code because that's your copyright potentially. Maybe, but who knows? Maybe you took a photo of someone else's thing. I don't know how it all works, but That's just there's a use case I was thinking of today
when he reloaded that toast, did you properly credit the person who owned that toaster? Did you go to the blockchain and verify that was the toaster that belonged to that person?
Did you properly sub to iStock Photo, or did you download it?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
it's an endless game, I know.
It's such a mess, and it's such a again, everything's gonna stop at some point, but you just look down this rabbit hole and we're at the top level, it feels like still. And I'm just going, it's already bad and it's only going to get worse. Yeah. Why is this a path we want to walk down?
People always want to use the example of, well, everyone thought the web was terrible when they first saw it in the early 90s. And they went, no, I'm never putting a credit card on there. Why would you ever do that? And there's all this fraud and stuff. And it's true. There was a lot of that, and now we do it no problem because we have protocols in place that take care of that. We have security that is now built into browsers, and it's all, approved by the entire industry before any of that stuff goes into work, and encryption matters and all that sort of stuff. Yes, those things come with time. And yes, this NFT world will tighten up in terms of the fraud stuff. It will tighten up. But I still say there's a flaw at the core of it, which is this weird sense of artificial scarcity that doesn't actually exist. And if rich people need a place to just throw their money, I guess that's a whole other problem I'll never understand. But I can think of better places they could put it. You could put some kids through school and feed some people. I feel like that would make a bigger difference than whether you own some freaking weird ass JPEG monkey that looks like shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know some of these guys that spend like $50,000 for a bunch of recolored, just duped images of that damn monkey, but all the different colors, whatever they paid. I don't know what it was. I just sit back and go, y'all got scammed hard. You got scammed so hard. I could do that right now in 5 seconds. You would have you want some alternate versions of some shit drawing I did 5 years ago? I can do it. And I'll sell it for whatever.
They don't want the drawing. They just want the status. They just want to buy the status, or they want to invest because they think at some point it's going to be a payday for them. And for some people, it will be. Like, there are people that are going to get money out of this. That's why it's taking off. Like, these things don't become popular. Not everybody invested in GameStop because, it was a big flaw and nobody was going to make money off that. People made money off that. That's how it happened.
Yeah, and a lot of people lost money.
I think that's over, though.
It is over.
GameStop's a good example of horseshit.
It is, but it's a good example of horseshit, because that was horseshit what they did there, and they basically exploited the system. Some people made a crap ton of money really fast. Other people lost a ton of money. It's shit. It's all shit. So quit being shitty, everybody. Be nice. Knock it off. Don't be shit. That's what we're saying.
Basically.
Gosh dang it.
Knock it off, don't be shit. All right. Ubisoft court sucks is what we're saying.
Yeah,
I guess just one little tack onto this is Stalker 2 was apparently going to go this route with the NFTs as well, and they have announced today that they are not.
Yeah, they pulled it. Fan backlash where they went, "Oh, okay, we're not doing it." They said, so they're not doing it now.
I think there's a lot of people in game dev though, like, because the Peter Molyneux came out saying he wanted to use NFTs for something as well.
Yeah, he's making a game with it. Something in there.
Like I think the technology is of interest, but people are still. It's a little too like the public temperature on it is not acceptant right now for the most part.
No,
but they might have really genius, innovative ideas that we just can't even think of. That
dude, if 1% of the money wasn't tied up in the same 8 people in this country. Or excuse me, if 99% of the money wasn't tied up with the same, handful of people who could all fit in a freaking Winnebago and they had all the money, it might be different. If all of us were loaded and we were all going, we got to just do some dumb thing with our money, sure. But that isn't how it is. This, if anything, this just underscores the inequity. And I'm not going this isn't me going full hippie here. That's just the truth. That's where all the money is. Of course, Elon Musk is super into crypto and everything tied to it. Why wouldn't he be? What else is he going to do? Fire penis rockets? Oh, that's Bezos. But whatever. They're all doing it. Penis rockets, e-peen, and everything's e-peen for the rich and famous. And it's like 12 people that have all the money. It sucks. I hate it.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that is what it is.
Let's move on. I love Dear Martha reviews, and we have a Steam review here, a 2-parter from John. Yep. This is for Ark Survival Evolved. Okay, you may know the game. You may have heard of it. It's on everything now. And I've never played it. But we got a great review for you here. John, anything special here or just the normal old Ken Burns?
Nope, we're going to be doing 2 of them. Because it's a 2-parter. So.
All right, here comes number 1.
My dearest Martha, today I present to you my review for Ark Survival Evolved. Martha, spawned in the game for my very first time. Cried a bit since the game runs pretty bad, though I know it will get better, but it is still playable. Started learning controls and running around. Saw a big rock and thought, nice, maybe I can use this as a weapon. Upon closer inspection, it was dinosaur poop. Thought I could maybe throw poop at other people or dinosaurs. Couldn't figure out how to equip poop. Clicked on poop in the inventory and clicked use item. By clicking on use item, I thought it would allow me to put it in my hand to wield the poop. Apparently, it made me eat the poop. Died from poop. Note to self, do not click use item on poop or other dangerous items. Yours in this life and the next, Tesseract.
That's very good.
I learned something about that game. I'll be prepared if I play.
No, if you eat the poo, you die. No.
Yeah.
I've seen that done. I haven't done it because I haven't played it, but they look like little round poo balls. And I saw somebody who modded that game, and then they put this video up on TikTok, but basically it was the guy had the poops. Was that it? Maybe it was Rust. But anyway, they gave the character the poops. So that character would run, and if the camera looked behind him, just a trail of shit for miles.
Don't eat those.
Yeah, don't eat those. And it was a very funny sound. It had some kind of Benny Hill music in the background. It was wonderful. All right, John, number 2 coming at you.
My dearest Martha, I present to you now an update to my review for Ark Survival Evolved. Update. A fellow gamer messaged me and complained that this wasn't a review at all and reported me because of it. So, specifically to that person and to anyone else who has no sense of humor, here is a review. Review. This game is fun. It has dinosaurs. It has poop. You have big poops and small poops. I can poop and my dinosaur can poop next to me, or I can ride him and make him poop. Game doesn't run the best, of course. Highest amount of frames I get is 30 with a mix of settings, but mainly everything on medium, with some ultra. Will you like this game? Yes, if you like dinosaurs, base building, and pooping. Stop talking about poop. Will I like this game? Yes, if you like dinosaurs. Stop talking about dinosaurs. Will I like this game? Yes, you can poop. Yours in this life and the next, Tesseract.
Good. It's nice that guy came back and rectified his.
Yeah, I like that. I like how he's irritated by getting harassed about his his review by people. He just had to clarify, but he clarified with the same logic.
Yep.
Instead of trying all over again.
Pretty strong review.
He's just listen, guys, you can poo.
Yeah. Guess what? You want to poo?
That makes the game good. This is a review. It counts.
Well done. Now this. Games we played this week. I've said all I want to say about the Old Republic. It's fun. I like it. Halo Infinite. Played a ton of that. That game.
Oh, I played that as well, actually.
Oh, you did?
I forgot to put that on my list.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. How did
the
you...
actual proper campaign, no less.
Yeah, campaign.
Yeah,
how did you... The multiplayer.
Oh, you haven't... so I did a bit of both. I really like the multiplayer a lot in this. And so when I would have single-player sessions, when I would finish those, I'd just go and have a quick, player-on-player thing. And it was great. That game is great. I think that campaign is cerebral and reminds me of old Halo, and I like how spacey everything is, and I think that game's cool. I like it. I like it a lot. What do you think, Bo, of that campaign?
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
It's a shooter campaign.
I wouldn't rave about it, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
It plays really well, but it's just still... I only got to the part just when the open world started to happen. So, I like it. It's fun. Like, the shooting's fun. It's all the same old guns. It seems too early to be really judgy about it, because it's like there's an extended intro to the open world side of things. Mm-hmm. But it feels like Halo. Like, it's just unmistakable as a Halo game. I enjoyed playing it, but I quickly drifted off to play other things. I don't know that it really grabbed me, but that's sort of standard for me in Halo.
Yeah.
I like it. It's good. It's competent. And this seems like another entry into that level, but
it's definitely that. That's fair.
It's good. And if you have Game Pass, right, that's how you're probably playing it. It's a download. You play it if you feel like playing a shooter game. If you haven't played Doom Eternal and you're playing Halo, I'm thinking you should go back to play Doom Eternal. It's much better. But Halo's all right.
Depends on what you're trying to get out of it. Like, there's a pattern, or we talked about this before, John and I mostly, but we talked about the kind of pattern that is Halo, like the combat pattern of work that guy down on a shield, lurch forward and punch him, start things off with a grenade, everybody's shields are down. Like, there's a rock, paper, scissors thing that happens in that game that I think makes it kind of unique in shooters, and it has always made it kind of unique in shooters. And I really like that rhythm. I think that you're not wrong that maybe Doom 2016 or even Doom Eternal are, I don't know if I'd say they're better shooters, but they're just so different. Like, and they're amazing.
The enemy types, like, I think Halo's a little on the dull side for me, comparative. Like, I think it's just, there's nothing exciting about it. It's the same old guys. Like, you're fighting the little guys that go, hey, me, and then it's like I was playing this on against these guys on original Xbox. Yeah, the fidelity's up, but there aren't really any interesting enemy types yet. It's still early. Maybe there are going to be, but I find Halo's often just humanoid enemies. It's always a little falls a little flat for me on that front.
Sure.
But some people like that. So I mean that, the people of Call of Duty, all you play versus is military soldiers. I don't understand the appeal of a campaign. I get multiplayer, but campaign, it's just not very novel or interesting, to be fighting doing the same things like versus regular humanoid dudes, like it's very generic. I guess.
I think the open worldiness of the campaign is what's winning me over the most, because it is a more modern take on what Halo has ever been about before. Halo's usually just corridor after corridor, and you move on in a very linear way. The first act in that game is very much like that, but it opens up pretty wide after that, and that's doing a lot for me just mechanically. I get, but here's the thing with Halo, I cannot help it when I walk out into some vista and the voices go, oh, and I look up at a giant ring in the sky. I'm in.
Yeah, that part's cool. The music's cool. I always like that the music's against type, right? Like you're having this crazy combat and you're just hearing choir. It fits. It's very Halo.
Yeah.
There's really good things about it. Like it's definitely worthy of praise.
Yeah.
But I just, I mean, it's good. It's solid.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I played a bunch of that. Been playing with my kids in multiplayer. That's been really fun. Doing some of that stuff, getting on teams together and trying to lay waste to people, and they're improving it, adding stuff. They're going to add a bunch more of that samurai stuff to their skins because those are really popular. So it seems like it's a good ongoing concern. The game I really wanted to get to today, though, that I played a bunch of today, and it just came out today, is The Gunk.
What is The Gunk?
So The Gunk originally announced, I want to say E3 2019, may have been 2020. I don't remember. Probably 2020, actually, now that I think about it, because it was all video. It was announced at one of the Microsoft conferences, and they were talking about it being a day-and-date Game Pass game. And I really like the look of it. It's also the developers who did SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2, all the SteamWorld Dig games, and I really like the style they go for over there. This is the first game I played of theirs that isn't a 2D game of some sort. But their style is definitely there. Like, it just feels like something they would make. And it's interesting because here's what the game is basically. It's not breaking any laws in terms of like, whoa, I can't believe this game has now taken everything to the next level. It's not one of those. It's basically a 3D platformer with one mechanic that's like this robot hand you have that acts as kind of a vacuum for the gunk itself. The gunk itself is like this really cool, procedurally generated looking gross stuff that's found in the world, and you got to suck it up and remove it. Think Super Mario Sunshine jetpack water cleaner thing. You know what I'm talking about? It's like that, except you're sucking it in instead of trying to wash it off. And sucking it in is, I think, easier because it's, you just kind of, it's like a vacuum. And that activity, that mechanic is actually really fun, sucking in this stuff and pulling it out of the way. When you've done that, it reveals an area that's like you've done this in a million games. You've removed the scourge or the curse or the blight, and now whatever natural thing was there can do its thing. It's like that. So you've cleared it all, and now these branches grow, and now you can get to places you couldn't get before because it was all being held back by the gunk. That mechanic is there throughout, at least so far. I've been maybe 2 hours into the game. And there's a lot of Zelda-style puzzle solving. So you'll be in a place where you got to pull a certain plant off with your vacuum hand, and then that little plant ball you take with you, and you have to aim it and hit this exact thing so that you can get to the next level. Or a series of platforms will do whatever they have to do. And think of like most Zelda games where it's like, well, if I do the bomb here and then I run over here and hit that just in time and then light the torch on time, then the cave door opens. It's a lot of like that kind of stuff. You're on a planet that's it's like a biome in No Man's Sky, kind of just a big crazy alien world. You're there with this other lady who's the captain of your ship. You're also a lady, but you're very stylized. You don't look like you're not like a mannequin lady. You're like a stylized SteamWorld punk looking lady, just not a robot. There's a robot called Kurt who's in your ship, but I haven't done anything much with him. I assume he'll make part of the story later. Anyway, it's linear in that sense. It's not a big open world game. It's like, go to this, clear that area. Okay, cool. I figured it out. Now I'm on to the next space and do that. Very pretty. The sound and the music is really good. Here's my only hang up that actually got better as the game went on, but at first it really put me off. In all the SteamWorld games, they're not voiced. They're all robot-y sounds like and subtitles, right? This game has a voice cast, and they are kind of bad. Like, not great acting, and I think the writing is just kind of trite and not great so far. However, it's weirdly getting better, and I don't know why that is, because it started rough. I was like, ugh, you guys don't talk anymore. I just want to go do the stuff in the game. Please stop having story, because you're not good at this. And it really bummed me out at first. But the further I got into it, the more I like what my character is saying, and her reactions to the world I feel are more authentic. I don't know if they just got better in the process of making the game, or if this is on purpose. Like, something's getting better, but it's still the weakest part of the game. It's just a little cringy, the back and forth stuff. And you're talking on a radio to your captain back at the ship the whole time. Not the whole time, but on and off. And it's just a little, I don't know. It's just a little low rent in that regard. And it made me realize, oh yeah, I've never played a SteamWorld game where people said anything. It's always been this, subtitle thing so they can get away with it.
It's like your introduction to the dialogue in this world.
Yeah, which is their first foray into it. And you know what? They made it a beautiful next-gen looking game. It's really pretty. This is an Xbox Series X and S and Steam and whatever game that's meant to be next generation or, up to date. This isn't some old game that will run on your original whatever. So it looks really nice, feels really nice. I think it's it says good things about their upcoming next 3D game that is back to the universe of SteamWorld or SteamWorld Dig, yeah. The SteamWorld Dig world where it's all these robots again, but it's in 3D. And no one knows much about that game. That got shown, I think, at the Game Awards last week. Weren't we watching that? I think we did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it's these same guys. And mechanically, though, it roped me in hard. I couldn't put it down. It was if this show wasn't starting, I'd have kept playing. I was really enjoying it.
So it was really just fun to play.
Yeah. Fun.
You like the lawn mowing. This is like cyberpunk space lawn mowing.
Kinda. It's not... There's less of the sucking up the stuff than you think, and when you do it, it's not arduous. It's not like a task. It just feels good, and the stuff's dynamic. So it's like a kind of very next gen goop where it's pulling in random ways into your sucker thing, and it doesn't feel pre-rendered. It feels like you're actually making, procedural progress when you are sucking it up. It feels real. And so for some reason that makes it just feel kind of fun. It's fun to do, to suck up this stuff and clear an area and I hesitate to use the word simple, but in a lot of ways, the design of the game is kind of simple. It's get to the next area, do the stuff you got to do, get to the next area, do the stuff you got to do, discover a new place, do the stuff you got to do. And I don't know how long it is overall, but doing that stuff is fun. It's a fun process. And I would recommend it at this stage, even though I'm only a couple hours in. I would especially recommend it because it's on Game Pass, so you can just get it. I'm using I got a code from the developer. It just showed up in my email, and I was like, "Oh, that's very nice."
Oh, that's nice of them.
That was really nice. Also for Xbox, but so it's a little weird playing a game that I put a code in for that I now own in perpetuity versus Game Pass game that may or may not stay there forever. I don't know if it's forever or not, but that's where I'm playing it. And perfect couch kind of game. Just a good little game. It's just cool. It's just a cool game. And the music's really good. It's like this really ethereal, spacey shit I like. And if the voice acting was better, I'd probably be raving up and down about it because that's just the weakest part of it. It really pulls me out because it's just so bad. It's like, what are you calling me captain for? Oh, you don't like it when I call you captain, do you? It's just like a lot of shit dialogue. Poorly acted dialogue. But like I said, the further I've gotten in, the better my character's getting. And the more I'm kind of into what she has to say about the world around her. So anyway, I'll talk more about it when I finish it. But I think I'm going to push through it. I really like it. It's really cool. Somebody says it's like 5 to 7 hours. Totally fine with that. That seems about the length you'd want a game like that. Not to overstay. It's whatever. The art style alone is worth checking out if you're into that sort of thing. So anyway,
the look of the game is very unique and very cool.
Yeah. It's it's a very unique. You definitely can see the DNA of these are the SteamWorld Dig people. Like you can just, I just get the feeling that the same art director's involved. You just do, but in the 3D world and just sort of how lush everything is and the physics of that world are really neat. It's very, very cool. I like it a lot. I played a little bit of that Strike Team Aliens Strike Force. What is it? The Left 4 Dead like thing, but in Aliens world where you're shooting xenomorphs. And
how'd you handle that? Because there were some people that thought Scott's going to be too much of a scaredy to play this game. That's what they said.
Here's what's funny: not scary at all.
Nice.
Any more than Left 4 Dead is, and Left 4 Dead I don't find scary either. It's just so action oriented that it's not about tension or build up or payoff for that kind of like Alien Isolation is scary as shit. That game scares me real bad. This game, it's just shooting stuff, and it's super fan service because the very first gun you get, there's tons of guns to unlock, but the first guns you get are the guns from Aliens. So it's that or whatever they sound, that unique sound that movie had.
It sounds so cool, and as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh, that's from Aliens.
Yeah, it's like stow that shit, Hudson. There's just all those things are kind of there. They did something I wasn't sure I was going to like, but I think I do like it. The prominent, on Left 4 Dead, the prominent zombies are the ones that just look like people, and they're running around in bigger swaths, and they're easier to tear down, but there's lots of them.
Yeah.
That version in the Alien game, Strike Team game, are the aliens from Alien 3. They're
like the
kind of dog-like, yeah. So they're crawling on walls and running really fast, and they kind of gallop like a dog does.
Yeah.
Those are your fodder aliens. Then you have the alien, I think they're alien warriors, they call them, but they're like the Alien 1, tall and upright and long limbs. You know the one I'm talking about, like the big rubber suit one. Those guys are one of the specials to fight, and they're hard, but they're right up in your face melee. They don't do too much special except they have a lot of hit points and they hit hard, but those guys are in there. And then they have this one that looks like it's striped almost, like a gray striped pattern to it. And those things are brutal as shit, those things. And then there's ones that I've never seen before, which are like the regular crawly aliens, except their heads are already bulging and look like there's just membrane between shell that's yellow and pulsing. And in there is way more acid than the normal one. So they'll explode in acids everywhere. Not as big as like the big barfer guy in Left 4 Dead, but like, same idea, sort of, but smaller radius. And there's more of them usually there at once. And then there's a spitter, and the spitter guy, I can't really equate him to a movie. Maybe 4, because 4 had a spitter, weirdly. And it goes way back and does at range, this like acid spit, and you got to just try to stay out of the range of that thing and go kill it. So they're taking from the different movies and bits and pieces and making them all kind of part of the monster list. And I didn't think I was going to like that. I actually really like it. It's very cool that they did that, I think. I think it works. But if you're looking for something scary, it's not scary. It's very action-y. I like it more than, this is going to ruffle feathers, I like it more than Back 4 Blood. Because Back 4 Blood is basically Left 4 Dead, and I played 500 hours of Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, it's not hard to like things.
This is...
Yeah. It's just unique
Back
and
4
different.
Blood's not that good.
Different, new, unique, and new looking. But it's running at like, on my TV, 120 frames per second. It looks really nice. Sounds great. I've done 2 missions. The first 2 missions I did with AI. I can't join public games yet because you got to finish these tutorial missions. But I played enough to get kind of a taste for it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's one of those, it's not going to blow anybody's mind, but if you're looking for a good co-op, like, let's crank up the difficulty, guys, and go for the hard one and really see how this goes, that's what this is. It's one of those. And it's fine. I haven't seen like a Milky White hybrid like the 4th movie yet. Maybe that'll happen. Hopefully I get to push them through a tiny pinhole in the wall and get them sucked out in space when we're done. I don't know. But it's, it's very Colonial Marines-ish. It's time to pull out the Aliens Marines again kind of style to it. The music's good. It ramps up nicely when you're fighting. There's tons of aliens on screen at once. You don't have any frame rate drops or anything. I played it on console. I'm sure it's just as good on PC. It's reviewed well on Steam. It just kind of missed people's radar between Back 4 Blood and Halo and everything else. I think it just got ignored. So hopefully having it on Game Pass will give it a new audience and people can try it out. I think it's worth it's fun. It's cool. I like it. What else? Oh, finally, Bo and I both looked at this. The Matrix Awakens UE5 demo deal that they showed briefly at the Game Awards, and then that night you could download it. I downloaded it, and I'll be honest, I was kind of blown away by that. I think it's rad. I mean, no one would ever dispute that Unreal Engine 5 isn't going to be great and advanced and better and all the things that we've been promised about it. But when you take control of that camera and just float around stuff and go up to these buildings like way up high and see that everything's got an office behind those windows and some have lights on, some don't, like the level of detail down to a speck on the street that just got ran over by a tire that you can see the brand name of the tire on, and then be able to pull back and see this giant Matrix megacity seamlessly with no hitch, no load, no nothing. It's really impressive.
Well, they did a good job of marrying the background to the playable game zone.
Yeah.
Right? Because usually you can kind of tell this is the playable game zone, the fidelity is better, and then the background looks a bit painting-ish.
Yeah.
It was definitely hard to tell where playable game area ended and background was. Like, it was really... They poured a lot of love into this demo at the very least.
Yeah.
Like,
What'd you think of
it
the action
looked pretty
stuff? Because
seamless.
did you do the first part where Keanu's all
Yeah. I mean, it was, it's a piece of marketing for the thing, right? I think there was some controversy whether or not that was a digitally enhanced metahuman, but it was actual Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss doing a bit cringy marketing talk, like marketing show sort of on stage, like talk. It's a demo, but it was still fun. Like, it was still good. But then you can really tell when it's an unreal human. Like, I just say that uncanny valley. That valley is getting narrower. Like, it definitely felt. It definitely felt like the in-game NPCs when Keanu became Avatar Keanu and not moved like actual real life Keanu. It was still pretty good.
The beginning where he's sleeping by his keyboard looked insane, but that you can do a lot with lighting and shadow and stuff. So
but that was him from the movie.
Oh, I thought that was I thought I
don't
read.
think so. I think that's clips from the first movie.
Oh, I thought I
maybe,
read that.
But maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I got fooled.
Well, that's the point. Is like it's
well,
right.
yeah. There you go. If you can't tell, then maybe that's.
But that is a scene from the first one where he's sleeping at his desk. So I don't know.
Totally.
If they used
for sure.
footage.
I thought they recreated it because some Kotaku or somebody said that they created it. It says, "Oh, here it is." Demo might make you wonder which scene is real. Trying to find it here. When Keanu's walking around like the room where his character and Morpheus are standing by the chairs.
Yeah, that's all movie.
That's movie, but they 3D-ified the objects. So there was depth to all of it. It wasn't just like flat. I don't know how they did some of that. Some of that stuff is really something. But
Yeah, they probably meshed the polygons from the movie over top of the things or something like that.
Oh, this is interesting. So listen to this. Matrix Awakens took Epic Games more than a year to make. Its expansive open world city is impressive and dense. Here are some stats. 15.79 square kilometers of surface area. Slightly larger than downtown LA. That's crazy. 260 kilometers of roads, 512 kilometers of sidewalks, 45,073 parked cars, 38,146 of them are drivable and destructible. 17,000 simulated destructible traffic vehicles on the road, 7,000 buildings, 35,000 pedestrians, and 10 million unique and duplicated assets. It's just nothing else like this exists in demo form. It's insane.
I guess that was hard to notice because I didn't play the actual open city that much because are they all unique cars? Like, I just all thought they were, you get 12 cars, you give them different paint jobs and call them 10 million, but really it's like, 5 models or something like that.
Well, in this case, the cars, they didn't say they were unique cars. They just said they were 45,000 parked, 38,000 drivable. I never once, I spent a bunch of time just floating around. I never once saw a dupe of anything. And I don't know if that just, because obviously even in real life, you're going to see dupes, right? You'll see the same red van that day. You just didn't really notice that it was.
Right. Like, manufacturers don't make unique cars. Like,
Right.
You're going to see Honda Echo, like a couple of Honda Echoes in your day. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but what really got me is every window that is lit up in those 7,000 buildings, they all have offices and chairs and desks and shit in there. Like,
yeah, but it's the procedurally generated stuff because some of it's like, what office looks like that? Like, but you're not supposed to scrutinize it. It's probably supposed to be like you're floating around the city and everything at a glance looks like photorealistic city, and you won't tell the difference.
Yeah, I'm just
That's
used to like,
cool.
Oh, here's a bunch of fake reflections, and none of those windows have anything in it. And none of these doors would actually open, and
yeah, it's nice. Like it's definitely cool. It feels like a higher fidelity thing. I think the thing that fooled me the most is when you're shooting the cars. The cars felt like real cars at some points when they were flipping around. Like you're kind of blowing the tires out from them, and then they flip around and explode. And I'm like, that kind of looks like a real photograph of a car. Like the cars on the chase were what impressed me the most. When they're exploding, usually when things explode, they look at their most pixelated or like polygonal. You're like, oh, okay, game effects. And somehow when these things are getting blown up, they look the most realistic out of everything. And I was like, that's pretty impressive.
I think what it was for me, I just watched all the Matrix movies for FilmSack, and what I saw in this demo, and most of it stuff I controlled, looked better than the effects work in all three movies combined. Like more realistic. Yeah. They're very plasticky looking fight scenes and stuff on that freeway scene, which I enjoy the freeway scene in the second movie quite a bit, but this looked better.
Yes, it definitely looked better than the movie effects, which was crazy.
Yeah,
like even Keanu animated in here looked better than Keanu in the second Matrix.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
and it's being rendered in real time. It doesn't take Industrial Light and Magic like 15 weeks to render into a film or something.
Yeah. So I don't want to like overstate or oversell this as like, you guys, we finally crossed the bridge into ultra realism, but this is a step there. It's not that, but it's a step there in a way that I guess I wasn't expecting. And also it gave me all kinds of hope for like people who take this engine and they're not going for that big of a scale to blow all our minds, how much they can do from 0 to 100. You know what I mean? Like in the 40 to 50 range, the kinds of games we can expect. It'll be mind blowing. John, you should download it. It's free. Just look at it.
It's on consoles, right? It's not a PC thing.
You say just downloaded, but it's a 32 gig.
It's pretty big. Yeah. But you're right. It's
what it is. It's pretty big. It's a 20-minute experience, and then you're walking around an open state. It's still great. Like, but it's 32 gigs.
It's the two Xboxes and PS5 is all you can get it on right now.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Apparently, the PS5 version had, or maybe it was the Xbox. One of the versions had some during the demo of when you're fighting. There's one place where there's a slowdown in frame rate, but I think people are being nitpicky. Like I didn't have any of it, and it looked. My wife was like, what is this? I go, oh, what do you think this is? She goes, I don't know, what city is that? Like, it's a fake one in the Matrix. That's what it is. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, look at this.
Did we ever find out the name of that city in the Matrix? They didn't give it a name.
Who knows? I don't know. Isn't it just New York and they just think it's New York? I don't know.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where you're like, oh, maybe they didn't give it a name because, whatever. But I'm like, the people who live there would call it something. Like I live in
Matrix USA.
Yeah, I live in Matrix USA.
Well, that's where I used to get my hard drives and memory. Matrix USA. All right. Well, that's all I played. John, you literally finished Endwalker.
Did.
You're done. I mean, you're not done, but you beat the expansion story arc for sure. How'd it go?
I did. So this was a nice breath of fresh air because I've been in just one game this past couple weeks, which makes sense. I've been playing nothing but Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, and it lives up to its name. It is the end of that story.
Did you walk the end?
I walked to the end. Literally walked to the end.
What's at the end?
The ending. And here's the thing, like, so there's been a lot of curiosity about this, right? Because how does an MMO end when it's not actually ending. Like,
Oh,
we
they
saw
should
how
just kill off your character so they can get new people in.
we saw, yeah, then people can actually load the game because we can't play anymore.
Yeah, that's funny.
But a lot of people are curious, how do you end an MMO that's not actually ending? Like, everybody knows, a lot of
Right.
people know how the Matrix Online ended, and but when this game is going to continue, there's going to be patches and there's going to be additional expansions and all of that. How does it end? And I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to give away the story here, but I will say it is an ending. There is literally there is a screen where it says Finn. It doesn't say the end, but it says Finn. Like, they are putting a stopping point on the story they've been telling, and they're saying this is it. Characters, the world, the people, elements might continue, but this is the end of the story we've been telling since A Realm Reborn, and technically since 1.0, but considering you can't even play that chapter anymore, that's kind of mythos. That's like a prologue that people talk about as a thing that existed. So this is very much the conclusion to the story, and it was very cool, and it was very, it sticks the landing, in a world where a lot of games, even games I love very much, like Mass Effect, have had a hard time sticking the landing. This game definitely, for me, stuck the landing. It paid off all of the story that I was invested in. It had some very crazy revelations. Again, I'm trying to talk around any spoilers here. It was very easy in storytelling. It's very easy to go in and think, I know exactly what this is going to be, right? Like, when you look at Empire Strikes Back, it's not hard to guess what they're going to pay off come Return of the Jedi. You've seen there's this emperor that's pulling, the strings behind, even above Darth Vader. Han Solo's in trouble, all these things. And so it was very easy for me to go into this expansion and going, well, yeah, Shadowbringers really blew my mind, but I kind of know where it's going. Like, I know where the story's supposed to be. It's been about this and it's been about this, and that's what it's going to be. And this expansion surprised me constantly. It was not what I expected at almost every turn. And at times it was far darker than I expected. At times it was far lighter than what I expected. So there is some stuff. Don't say what it is, Scott, but I sent you a screenshot of some stuff that's in this expansion that I was just like, what are they doing? Yeah. Like, there was a moment where I went, they have gone too far. People will not continue down this path with what they're doing right now. Yeah. And I ended up loving it. It's really, really good. And it was a fantastic journey.
I have the final dialogue. You guys want to hear this? Listen to this. This is the final dialogue at the very end of the game right here.
Okay, spoilers.
Here you go. Spoilers ahead. Here we go. Give it a second.
I'm assuming it's a fart.
Here it comes.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it ended.
Yeah.
It was really shocking. Matthew Broderick came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Told us all to go home. That's how it ended.
Great.
But it's left me very excited for what's to come. Like, that's the other thing. It not only put an end to the story, but it also made me go, well, what the hell are they going to do next? Like, what is the next game? What is the next patch? Because Final Fantasy is notorious, like, and we've talked about this. When they put out an expansion, the expansion tells a story, and it's more or less a complete story. There will be threads that continue on past the end of it, but it's not like WoW, where you get like a big setup, and then over the next 2 years, that story concludes itself through the patches that they put out. In Final Fantasy, the patches either tie into those loose threads that still might be hanging, or they start to introduce what's coming next.
Yeah.
This game, more than any of the other expansions they've ever done, was definitely like this close. Like, there are doors open, but they aren't really related to what we've been doing this whole time. And I mean, there's points where they even spell it out. They're like, hey, look at all the stuff you could still do in this crazy wide world that we have, but what that looks like and where that goes, I have no idea. And so it was a great finale, and it also made me incredibly curious to see what comes next.
Did they finally at the end get rid of the little potato race that I can't stand in the game? The little stupid.
No.
Oh, okay, they're still around.
They're
Right.
still there. They're still.
And you mean they're Final Fantasy's weird version of halflings?
Kind of those little pixie looking freaking freak show little potato heads. I hate those things.
Yeah, no, they're not good.
They're
There's
bad.
There's probably somebody listening that likes them, but they're truly awful.
John likes them probably. I think you like them, right? You like
No,
them.
I mean, John's got a bit of Stockholm syndrome. There's good things about Final Fantasy, but you play any game long enough and you think stuff that you don't like is better somehow.
No,
I mean,
that was 100% right. They grew on me. Yeah. You
Yeah.
call it Stockholm syndrome, call it
the
what it
TV show
actually
gives you
is.
Stockholm syndrome. The number of
Like-
TV shows that I've watched where I've hated
Yeah.
the first three episodes, and then suddenly I like it in the fourth episode. I think it's a psychological effect. And the number of people like, I didn't like this show, but then I watched it a lot and I liked it. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you watched it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you got used to it. It normalized for you. And it was, I think that happens definitely in MMOs.
I think
don't
I think
this.
most people in the community would say eventually you stay long enough to where you actually like Lalafels. I have, although I have not played it or logged into it, I have a Lalafell version of myself.
Oh my
He's got
Lord.
a little goatee. He's bald. I have it happens. You
Are they
just get
called-
indoctrinated, and then you're in.
They're called
then you're-
Lalafell, like Lalafel. Oh
Yeah.
Lord. Okay.
It makes it better for you, doesn't it?
Oh, it makes it so much worse. It's so much worse.
Right?
hate those
I'd
little
like to
things.
introduce you to our Lalafell community.
Yeah.
That's
and when-
part of the reason why I sent the pictures to Scott. I did. Some of the pictures I send to him are just because I know it'll be something that'll bug him. Like I don't send him. Sometimes I'll send him cool stuff in Final Fantasy as still part of the long-standing dragon beef,
Yeah.
but usually I send Scott pictures of things where I'm like, oh, once Scott sees this, he's gonna be annoyed as shit.
Yeah. did-
That's the stuff I send him pictures.
You did
of.
send me a dragon.
It's funny because
Beef.
people might be. Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. I just played my dragon beef. Whoops.
People might be
Dragon
sensitive
beef.
about Lalafells, but like in World of Warcraft, gnome punting was perfectly acceptable.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah. It's the
yeah,
same thing.
like
It's
hating
the same
gnomes
thing.
was perfectly acceptable. But
Except
I feel
these
like,
are worse because when they voice them, oh my gosh, how do you stand it? It's just so bad. Like I almost wish
No,
those scenes
no,
weren't voiced.
voices in Final Fantasy are way better because they don't like gnomes are like, how do you do? I'm so happy to see you. Wow, bonkers. In Final Fantasy, at least they're just like they're just British people. Like
No,
it says they
you're
don't
right.
have
You're
they don't
right.
have weird voices. They're just British.
No, you're right. It's the voice I hear when they run into a room and start waving at you. Like they'll run in there and go like this, and I'm just like, I'm gonna kick you through that window, you
Yeah.
little piece of shit. I freaking hate
you
you.
better not kick. You can't punt in Final Fantasy 14. You get banned.
Yeah, that's true. Be good in that game. All
You
right,
have to
well
be
there
nice
you
to
go.
other players in that game.
Bo, tell us about Age of Darkness. I don't know what that is. Why can't I think of that? What is that?
You remember the game There Billions?
Oh yeah, right.
It's
Oh,
new. So this is an early access game by the same developers. It's the same game but a medieval setting.
right.
I never played There Billions, but it sounded interesting. So Age of Darkness is more my jam. I'm not big on zombie games, so I'm like, oh sweet, it's a medieval build the castle and defend.
Yeah.
So it's a tower defense adjacent, but it is an RTS. So if you know how StarCraft works, it plays pretty much like Warcraft or StarCraft. Like it has the command card for buttons. You drop down, you have to, gather resources, you have to build walls and buildings, and then every so often, depending on your difficulty, I played on easy, so every 5 nights, a horde comes to tear everything down, and it starts you off at 60, but every Age of Darkness or Dark Night they call it gets worse and worse. So on my playthrough, which was about 10 hours, I died to the horde of 6,000, and so they literally spawn 6,000 units from a gate to rush your walls. And like what you got to do is you got to figure out, you don't know where it's going to spawn, so as you expand, you don't know where you're going to put your defenses, and then you got to like plan accordingly, build up walls and towers, and you get your army. It's basically, John, you might be familiar with this. You know the StarCraft 2 mission, the Day of the Dead or something like that, where you turtle up and then go out to clear the map, and the
Oh,
mission ends when
yeah.
you've cleared the map. It's
I like
basically
mission
that.
a lot. Yeah.
It's basically that, the video game. So during the other nights, like the day, it's easier. You go out during the day, you clear monsters, level up your commander. You have a hero unit. and you pick up resources that way. So you do base building, you plan, and then you can go out at night and you'll get more XP, but it's more dangerous. But you can send your dudes out at night. You can upgrade your dudes. It's still in early access, so I imagine there's still a lot missing from it. 'Cause there's only 4 unit types, 6 if you count the siege weapons. I feel like they're going to add more. And apparently, They Are Billions had a bunch of different story missions and stuff like that. So this only just has a regular play mode. I really enjoyed it. I sunk like 10 or 15 hours into just one playthrough, and it scratches that StarCraft itch. So it's that mission the game.
It looks like I will hate it because it's very tower defensey, and I hate those kind of games.
Yeah, it is tower defense, but it isn't like build. You don't know which direction they're coming in, so it isn't like that's the only gameplay. You do go out to slaughter things, and you have to pick up resources and level up your dudes. So
even worse, because I don't want to. I hate not knowing where the shit's coming from.
well, if you don't like that, then you won't like this game. But it is fun to go out and level up your dude and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it might not be up your alley because of the defense nature, but it plays more like a turtle mission from StarCraft than like strictly tower defense, because it's just not the only thing you do in the game.
Sure.
It's like that's the event that's coming. So there's like mild attacks that happen every night.
Yeah.
But really you're going out to fight things on the map, and then every 5 nights there's a tower defense event. But
interesting. Yeah, chat room saying isn't there a game like that on Game Pass right now? It's that the mech one.
Rift Breaker?
Yeah, Rift
Breaker. Yeah, I
Breaker.
tried that too. I didn't care for it too much.
Yeah, it wasn't my jam either. But it was same problems. There are some people who really like that game, but I don't know.
I think it's because that controls more like an ARPG, and then you have to move your guy around and drop it out like it. This is like a mouse and command. Like it's
like God game.
It's
a
StarCraft Age of Empires style game.
Yeah,
so.
That's a whole. Yeah, the approach is very different.
But I enjoyed my time in there. It was good. The atmosphere is great in it. Next up I have a big list. I played the Halo campaign. We talked about that. It was good. I'll probably get back to it at some point.
Sure.
But I also bought another early access game, War Tales. I think this was announced last year at the Game Awards, actually, and it finally went into I think it's an alpha. It's very early access. But any of you guys played Battle Brothers? Probably not.
No.
But this game genre, it's a like FTL, like roguelike game. There's no set story or set characters. It's low fantasy, so fantasy world, but no dragons or monsters of any kind. It's just other humans, and you assemble a mercenary band. And it's mercenary management. So you got to pay their wages. You got to make sure they're fed. They don't get sick. You got to make sure they don't get ambushed. Meanwhile, taking missions. You can steal if you want. You can be very immoral and steal and slaughter people. You can pick up corpses and feed them to your party if you run out of food. So you have to feed them. The presentation style is great. It's got Witcher adjacent music. It's really nice. The UI is simple and clean. It's got like the combat is like Divinity Original Sin, kind of inputs, or XCOM maybe is better thing. And I didn't play it too much. I've only got a couple of hours into it, but it's essentially a roguelike. Well, the cool thing about it is when you're in the overworld map, like there are wandering mercenaries, wandering like the King's police force. I think if this game sort of holds true, there will be independent nations doing things versus each other that you don't have a direct impact in, but that you can. Like the fact that one nation will go to war with another nation isn't really narratively tied to what you're doing, but it's happening, and then opportunities can arise from what's going on because you're a mercenary company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of the sandbox mercenary thing that's sort of its own unique thing. I really like it. I'm looking forward to playing it more. Not all the levels are in it, stuff like that.
Would you compare
tactical.
it to like maybe a little bit of? I've always said Oregon Trail is like the original roguelike.
It's something like that. The Battle Brothers is the game that keeps coming up. It's a Battle Brothers is like this German board game style. It's probably not one that's recommended to buy, but it's basically a tactics game mixed in with Oregon Trail. But you can go wherever you want. Like, it's not just one linear path from left to right or anything. You can move. There's a couple of continents or zones, and you can move anywhere you want and do anything you want. It just costs you food. So if you starve or if you lose fights, demoralize your party, and then maybe people will desert you So you're really trying to be a good mercenary manager as you do this. It's cool. I need more time with it, but I really enjoyed.
It seems up
just
my
graphically,
alley.
it looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
No voice acting. I don't know if that's going to be something they're going to add in or not. It really should be added in because the game itself looks very cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Is it?
Yeah.
It's an early access. You said that, right?
It's
on
early
Steam?
access right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to check this out. This looks like my
Yeah.
jam. Now this kind of thing is totally up my alley. I love these kind of games.
Yeah, just the overworld map's really neat, and like, see that guy's walking towards some trees. There might be bandits. Like, I was like, let me go through the trees. It's quicker than taking the path, and a horde of bandits ran out of the trees, and I was like, oh shit, better not go through the trees. The forest is dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like roaming patrols. You go to town, you can pick up quests. You give your guys crafting. Like, it's all very RPG elements, but it's not like a specific story. So every playthrough's different kind of thing.
I thought for some reason this was War Tiles, which is a totally different game. I apologize earlier for saying, "Oh yeah, War Tiles. I have that."
I own War Tiles. I still haven't played it yet.
War Tiles is cool. It's like a D&D thing, but this is or D&D adjacent thing, but this is
this has the party management aspect, which I don't know if War Tile has. I don't think
it doesn't. It's more
if you run out of money and don't pay people, then you have no more army.
Yeah,
they won't fight for you.
This looks great. I'm gonna have to check this out. I love when people have taken that FTL kind of idea and just applied new ideas to that structure. It's some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah. Oh shit! There is there was a giant rat in that trailer. I haven't played that much of it, so there might actually be some. I think it's going to be low fantasy, so you're not going to be fighting elves every second, but there probably is some horrors and some things in that nature.
I'm gonna grab
that looks
this.
really cool.
Yeah, that looks neat.
Yeah, I'm really into War Tales. All right, next up, I got a big long list. Finally played the regular. I played the demo Scarlet Nexus, so I played the actual Scarlet Nexus.
Oh yeah,
that game is good.
It's good, right?
It's like a poor man's Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So instead of awesome cinematics, it's a visual novel but the visual novel is really nicely animated. Mm-hmm. The characters are very anime. It's all about the relationships between different kids.
I watched you play a little bit of this, and the thing that struck me, tell me if I'm wrong, or because I wasn't paying a ton of attention. I just had it on as I was, between cutscenes in Final Fantasy. But every time I looked over, it felt like somebody was popping up on the screen to interrupt whatever you were doing. Like, it seems like there is a lot of like people just popping on the screen to yell or say something.
Right. So that's part of the fun. They're not really interrupting because the gameplay doesn't stop. It just clutters your screen for a very quick second.
Yeah.
But basically, you have psychokinesis and you can activate your teammates' SAS power. So that might mean it slows down time, or you add electricity to your attacks. And when you activate them, the dude gets on screen. It's like, "Let me help you," and it's like if you look at my camera, it's like, "I'm here to help," and then they'll just go, "I've got you," and then it just like goes away. But I never get sick of it. Like I think the thing is a very easy game, but it's super. There's so much animation and shit going on that when you're playing it, it's like thumb candy. So I'm really enjoying it. This game has committed 2 mortal sins in gaming, though. Be warned, it's still good enough that I keep playing it, but these sins are bad. One, the music is awful.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
It does. There's some parts where it's okay, like in the cutscenes, but when you're playing the game and it's like drum and bass with the sax solo, and I'm like, who made this? It's
just wrong. It's just wrong.
And I'm like,
I don't know whose idea it was. They really effed that up. The music is straight up.
The music
bad.
Is so bad. Yeah. I still play it. It's still good enough to play. The other sin is it pulls the Dragon Age 2 bullshit of not having a lot of zones, and then you go sending you back to the exact same zones. All the time. There's a real lack of variety, and the levels themselves, the ones they have, are really beautiful and stylized, but there isn't a lot. There isn't a hell of a whole lot. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm still just enjoying it because I'm far enough in that I feel really invested. I'm in chapter 7 of 12 or something like that. So
you're past where I was. 12. Yeah, that's really good. I got maybe 4 or something when I played.
And the stories are different. So you can play as Yuito or Hasane.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm playing as Hasane right now, and then every now and then you'll meet Yuito and like it's part of the story. So I'm like, I think I kind of need to play as Yuito to see what happens with him.
Yeah.
There is some pretty badass moments. At one point in the game, you go to the future and meet old Yuito, and
Yeah.
he looks like a badass cyberpunk samurai. Like the character design, like is awesome. I love the
really good.
outfits, and I love this stupid science fiction. The science fiction is so stupid.
It's
like
really
everyone
dumb,
has an
but
SAS power.
Those environments are cool, and the way you grab like a fridge that's on the side of an old beat up road and throw it at your enemies, that stuff feels real good. That's that kinetic stuff.
Like it's just like there's always this crazy action going on. I mean, that's what sort of made me keep playing it. It's just there's always something ridiculous to do, and spamming all my buttons, and it just feels good to play. And the story's like overwrought, but like it's overly dramatic and so full of words that are just like, oh my god. But it's just good. There's just some magic sauce to it that makes me keep playing it. So it's a
very
good
pretty.
Game Pass,
It's the kind of
play.
world I want to spend more time in if it was less visual novel, because that stuff I don't like. It drives me nuts.
Honestly, if they actually fixed the soundtrack, this game would be just absolutely amazing. Like
Yeah.
it would make me want to play it more. It is really good.
Yeah, the music I turned off eventually because it was so bad.
Yes,
so you can do
it's
that.
really bad.
It just makes the fight seem a little less epic when there's no other sound other than the fighting going on. But it's a
but
weird
it's really
game.
fun learning to do brain crushes too. That's the other thing, is like you can kill it with health, but brain crushing it means you can do an execute move that looks all stylish. So that's way cooler.
Yeah,
It's just fun. It's if they ever get to making another game of this, there's also an anime I'm curious about watching. Apparently, I guess it's tied into the launch of an anime called Scarlet Nexus. 12 episodes is available somewhere.
I didn't know that. That's
Because
interesting.
there's a girl at the restaurant, Hasanabi's or something like that, where you can give her codes by watching the episodes, and then you get free loot.
Oh, really? I didn't
But
know that.
I just looked up the free codes. I didn't watch the episodes.
Yeah.
No, Scarlet X is really good. It's a poor if you can play Final Fantasy VII Remake, just play that, but it's a good poor man's
They
Final
need to-
Fantasy.
they need
Yeah,
to-
so that
they need
Scott,
to
if you
have-
played Scarlet Nexus, you have a sense of what Final Fantasy VII is like.
Yeah.
With a higher production value and
Yes.
much better soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack
Yes.
obviously a lot better, but yeah, the kind of combat it absolutely reminded me of what I was seeing from Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that got me excited because that's the best part of the game. It's all the other stuff that really pushed me off of it. But I expect that some Yoshi P equivalent who runs music over at Bandai Namco to do an apology video one day for how bad that shit music is. I hope they do it. I want to watch that live stream because it's terrible.
Somebody who was chatting though says this game's like Tale of Arise. I haven't played Tale of Arise, but that was heralded as being really good, so it makes me extra curious now because I liked this so much. Maybe I'd really enjoy Tales of Arise.
That's that won the best RPG last week for.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe I hope it goes to Game Pass. I know it's going to happen. I'm going to buy it and then it'll be on Game Pass when I finally.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Buy it because I want to play it. So
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat 11 here. Tell us about that because that's on Game Pass. But
Right. So I bought it the day before I found out it was on Game Pass. The complete collection is on sale for like $26 Canadian, something like that. So I was like, oh, let me pick that up. I just started it, so I don't have much to say. Maybe more next week, but the campaign so far is hilarious. like it's like renting a movie. It's like the stupidest movie in the universe that's good.
yeah.
It's most stupid, but that's why it's amazing, right? We're just like Other Realm is, or what is it? Earth Realm is attacking Nether Realm. Oh no, you can't do that, and then it's a fight. I don't know. It's good.
It continues the ridiculous tradition of fighting over the most trivial things. Nothing quite as trivial as I bumped into you and I think you're kind of a jerk, so now we're gonna just do moves where we're snapping each other's arms and limbs because you mildly offended me.
Yeah.
But it's still right in that ballpark.
Sure.
The Mortal Kombat story modes are just
Yeah.
a true treasure to mankind. I
Yeah.
feel
Right?
like.
It's
They're
like
great.
Chronica comes. It's like we killed the bad guy shit out, and Chronica's like, that's not the way the universe is supposed to be. I don't like that. So now I'm gonna be the bad guy and set everything right. It's just normal, like what is the keeper? What is going on? I don't know.
It's Western anime, if you ask me. That's what it reminds me of. It's like our
Yeah,
attempt to do
actually, yes. It's a very good description of Mortal Kombat lore, Western anime.
that. Yep.
Like stuff just happens. There's evil Liu Kang, but then the Liu Kang from the past comes to the future and he's back to normal again. Like it's just like, okay. Just anything goes, and it's kind of fun. Yeah, honestly, as an excuse to get to the actual combat and learn how the game works, it's pretty well done. It's pretty
Plus you got Terminator, RoboCop, Freddy. You got all the dumb characters.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get limited use out of it. I don't think I'll be actually playing it online with people or PvP. I'll probably just play the campaign. And
watch before you know it. Bo's doing Evo competitions and winning cash prizes.
No, I'm too old. Too old. I'm too old. My reflexes are slowing down.
Yeah, happens to all of us. No more to worry about it. Anyways, so that's cool.
That was fun.
How about? And then we talked about the Matrix thing. Well, there you go, everybody. A lot of games this week for me and Bo.
Yeah, not me.
Nope, John over there playing.
But you had a very important one to play. And Walker is no small thing.
Yep. I mean, I want to witness the wipeout of the entire Potato Head race as well. So I'm looking forward to getting there, and I'll get there eventually. All right.
Potato Ender.
There you go. and
Potato End. That's the next expansion.
I like it. That's real good. All right, quick emails.
That's a good question.
This one from Scott, not me. Someone else says, just found it interesting that Scott spent a very large amount of time trying to get John to be a little less inflexible about watching a Mass Effect show that had Shepard in it, specifically with the quote, "What if everyone said it was really good?" argument. And John even gave, eventually even gave a sincere maybe. But then not 5 minutes later, Bo and John both suggested Scott try out the Dancer class in Final Fantasy XIV, stating that it is actually really good and loads of people think it's awesome. But Scott's reaction was a very hard no. What's up with the hypocrisy, says this guy. I'll cop to that. The idea of a dancer being a cool fighter or a cool like hero type does not work on the front end of my brain at all.
Yeah.
In practice, clearly people are finding enjoyment with that character class.
It doesn't work for me either, for the record. Like, as somebody whose main class was a dancer, that doesn't strike me as very cool. Now, throwing cool spirally rings as an attack, that's cool. I do think that's neat.
Yeah.
But you are still a dancer. I do have some good news for you, though, Scott.
Oh, what's that?
Front.
What's that?
So I finished Endwalker as a level 90 Reaper. And I can confirm that the Reaper job is really cool.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
Heard good things.
It plays just as well as Dancer does, with some cool mobility business and all of that. And you don't have to be like, I'm a dancer. Like, instead you get to pull out a big old scythe and look like death incarnate. So, if you absolutely are like, I cannot dance to kill my enemies, Reaper is a good alternative for you.
Fair enough. Yeah, but I bet he makes a good. This other Scott makes a decent point. It is a little hypocritical what I was saying about that. It's not quite like he didn't say. They're two very different situations. One's a TV show. One's a game that I'm playing. So I don't.
What if the dancer is really good?
I mean,
what if the dancer is the best class and you just
then I would probably end up doing it because. I don't know. I don't know if I would or not. I like to, when my RPGs of any kind, I like to be stuff I think is cool. I just don't think dancers are
so
fine.
You heard it here first. Dancers.
But
not
wait
cool.
a minute. Didn't you play a hunter?
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did with the hunter there. I love the hunter. In fact, right now I'm playing an archer in Final Fantasy, so that'll tell you something. I like the archer.
True.
Yeah. Jordan wrote in a final email that came to talktothecore@gmail.com. Keep using that address, everybody. Jordan says, hello, I have been a listener to The Instance for a while and kept hearing about Core on that show and Azeroth Roundtable and decided to give it a shot. I love the shows that you guys put out. It has quickly become my favorite podcast and one that I listen to all day long at my job as a mechanic. Wow.
Sweet.
On repeat, I guess. My question to you guys is this. Have you ever had a weird experience going to a midnight release of a highly anticipated game? When I was in college, I went to my local mall during the day to pre-order Mad Max, the video game. Was this the NES one? Because someone just gifted that to me. Look at this. I got
the
this
NES one.
Yeah, the Tadpool.
Oh wow! Look at that
Santa thing or Secret Santa we do.
Wow.
Guacmar sent this as a gift, and I've never even played
it. That's in good condition too.
It's in great condition. It's. I
don't even have a NES Mad Max.
I don't have a NES to plug it into, but I never had this game. I
can
love it.
blow in the cartridge though if you want.
I could. I'm gonna do it now. Oh.
Better. It'll run now.
Now it'll run. He says, let's see. Blah, blah, blah. They also told me that they would be would be doing a midnight release that night and come back and grab it. My college classes ended at 11:30 p.m., so I drove over to the mall, found the parking lot empty, unfazed. I walked into the mall, which was unlocked, only to walk to a GameStop and find the store completely shut. It was a bit before midnight, so I sat on a bench and waited. Then a security guard happened upon me sitting in an empty mall and asked why I was there. He was as he was escorting me out. I never went to another midnight release after that. Jordan.
Wow,
That sucks.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. That's not your fault. The weirdest one I ever went to was Target Target midnight release for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the first one. So Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare back in 06 was that? Something like that. And we went there at midnight to get it. Was getting it on PlayStation 3, I guess. Yeah, that would have been the console I was playing it on. Maybe Xbox. I don't remember. And I was in line to get it, and there were maybe 6 other people there. There wasn't that many. And right in the middle of us waiting, it was maybe 10 minutes before they released the game, before it was midnight, so 11:50. And in the door, on the other end of the store, you hear this door swing open, and you hear a guy go, "All right, let's do this." And I'm like, oh boy, what's going on over there? But then we just sit in line. Eventually, this guy makes his way over there, and he's one of these guys that isn't huge, so he doesn't need to do this, but he's holding his arms out like this and swaying them. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know, just trying to puff himself up or whatever.
Cool guy.
And he came over there, and he goes, I'm ready. Can I get it now? And this guy goes, we can't do it till midnight, but if you want to hop in line, that'd be great. And he goes, oh man, I haven't done this in so long. I cannot wait to play my favorite team. And I went, your favorite team? Something's weird here. What do you mean team? Does he mean like, Americans versus the whatever, Russians or whatever?
Americans versus the whatever.
I didn't know what he meant, but I'm like, oh, well, we're all getting this game. So, and then later he's like, oh yeah, because they haven't been great in the last few years, but ever since they got Coach, what's his name? They've been awesome. So I'm really, he just kept saying this stuff. And I went, Coach, he was there for a Madden release that wasn't happening. It didn't happen. There was no Madden that night. So he gets all the way up to that front of the line and had a complete meltdown with the clerk because he was sure that was the midnight release for Madden. Even though while he's in line, posters, cardboard stands, all the marketing material in the world saying Modern Warfare or Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, everywhere. Like, I don't know what's wrong with that guy. Anyway, he was an idiot. So that's mine. I don't know if you guys have any.
I worked a fair share of them where I was the person at the store with the store open at midnight. I did a few of those. The only things that have ever happened weird, like related to late night and malls and video game releases and stuff, is I got pulled over by the cops on my way to get Wrath of the Lich King at midnight. And
what were you doing?
They said I was speeding. And
were you late to get in line?
No, I wasn't even speeding. The cop pulled me over and he comes up and the very first thing he said to me was, I don't know how fast you were going. And I was like, well, if this ends with me getting a ticket, I'm going to be a little upset because he doesn't even know if I was speeding is the first thing he told me.
Yeah. That's weird.
I think he just didn't like that. At midnight, I had a bit of a lead foot going off the line, but I didn't go that fast. I usually do drive a little over the speed limit, so probably. But,
sure.
If you're going to tell me I don't know how fast you're going, I'm going to argue it. So anyway, he didn't give me a ticket. Turns out he could have because I couldn't produce a current insurance card at the time.
Oh, geez.
Damn. I'll get you in trouble.
But he did let me go with a lecture, so that was probably the weirdest experience on my way.
Price paid.
But my best experience was I worked at a GameStop and they were doing a conversion. It used to be a software, etc., and they were converting it over to a GameStop, and they wanted everything. They wanted everything to uniformly match. So all of our carpet and stuff needed to be changed. And so for changing over the carpet, they said, okay, well, you need people there because what we're going to do is you need to move everything in the store from one half of the store to the other half.
Yeah.
Then we do the carpet on that side. Then you move everything from that half to the other half. And then we do that half. And then you put everything back where it was. And they, of course, do this after the mall's closed. But it also means you have a ton of downtime where you've got employees hanging out in an empty mall. And so we just started cruising the mall and getting into trouble. And I became very convinced that there is nothing scarier in this universe than a mall that is closed late at night.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's freaky.
You hear weird sounds. There are things. You hear people walking behind like walls that you're just like, are there people back there?
Yeah.
There shouldn't be. The parking lot looks empty, but I hear walking.
Yeah.
And the creepiest thing is, those little machines that you put the coins in and they move and all of that?
Yeah.
Well, we get to the end of the mall, and actually we had another group come back and they went, just walk to the end of the mall. It's the scariest thing. Just go to the end of the mall. So we went down there and we're trying to figure out, because they wouldn't tell us what it was. They're like, you'll know it when it happens.
Yeah.
And so we're just walking around like, what is scary down here? And all of a sudden we hear children laughing.
Oh, no.
And I was like, okay, that's legitimately creepy. But, I'm definitely more of a Scully than a Mulder. So I'm like, all right, well, what's causing children to laugh? Let's figure this out. I go looking and I see those machines, and there's one of like a bus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's it. So I went walking over to it and I was like, look, kids laughing. And then we hear children laugh and it comes out of the machine again. I was like, see, kids laughing.
Yeah.
And our mutual friend Ben goes, John, it's unplugged. And I look down and the power outlet is right there and the cord is literally laying in front of it. And we all go, ah! We scream, go running down the mall, terrified.
That's
so
great.
That malls are freaky late at night. So that's not a midnight release, but there's a good time to be had in the mall.
Yeah, completely agree on your take on malls being gross or weird at night. They're just weird. I don't want to be. It's like a church in the dark or anything like whatever you're in that's the opposite of what it should look like. Always scary. And a mall shouldn't be dark and empty. Boo, 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 boo. Boo. Bo, any
I've never been to a midnight release.
Well, you're the smart one here. Well done. It was always so dumb. Like today, I can't even imagine it. I waited overnight in the snow in November of 2006 for a damn Wii. That is the last time I did a park in the parking lot and lay there in a tent thing ever again. I'll never do that again. That was it.
I don't want to poo-poo or sound judgy or, whatever. If you're excited about something, it's cool. But I just always figure I'll get it the next day. And if it sells out, then I'll get it whenever. I
feel you. There's something that,
I mean,
there's some wisdom to
sometimes you get unlucky and you wanted to play Final Fantasy 14 on your Christmas holidays and Yoshi P shuts down the servers. I mean, there's probably some people who were like me who waited and was patient and now paying the price for not being, but that's very rare in gaming, right?
Yeah.
It's very rare.
That's true. All right, then. Thank you for your emails, guys. Cock to the core. Ugh.
Cock to the core will get you a very different inbox.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
You'll be banned.
If you're trying to email us, talktothecore@gmail.com is the email address to use. We'd love to hear from you. And if you've made it this far, Lamar, you send me an email. Let me know how it went for you. I'd love to know what you think of the show. Anyway, talktothecore@gmail.com. A quick reminder that we are supported by you over at patreon.com/core show. And if you haven't been to patreon.com/core show, you ought to. Like Andrea T, who's at the Corehound Platinum level, and Corey Hodges, who's at the Corehound Platinum level as well. We love you guys, and we want more of you there. So please check it out. Find out what you can get.
You plats are awesome.
Plats are amazing. And you get bonus content every week. Every time we do a show, there's a whole bonus audio file that you wouldn't get any other way. So go check it out and support us today. That's patreon.com/core show. I think that'll do it for us. Now, as I like to do as a tradition here on the show, I like to find out if there's any words of wisdom left in the heads of my two venerable co-hosts. And today we start with John. John, is there anything you'd like to say to the fine people before we go?
Be ready for everything. The holiday seasons are a trying time, but remember, for as often as life is a beautiful song, life can also sometimes be a beautiful song interrupted by Imagine Dragons.
Oh man, that is deep.
I wake up to the sound of something in a bar.
But they're the ones that do that, welcome to the new day, to the new day. The one that Sony used for their PlayStation 4 release. Remember that? It was like, welcome to the new age or something.
Yeah, that's
them. Bo, what do you got there?
Before you buy any game, see if it's going to be on Game Pass.
That was practical.
It's very practical. I like it.
It's very good advice. I've done it twice now, and yeah. I'm
You're
sure it'll
right
happen
to,
again.
yeah,
but
you're
just
right
try.
to give that advice. I hope people take heed because that's a good one. That is going to do it for us. We hope you're all having a lovely holiday season and that you're staying safe and well. Safe and well? Safe and well is what I meant to say. Staying safe and well. And we'll be back next week with at least one more of these before the holidays. So we look forward to that. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
We're back. I hovered over.
We're back.
I hovered
We're
over.
back.